Hello and welcome to Ball Python Questions and Answers. If you're new to the channel, my name's Chris and this is Bobby, my bamboo ball python. He is pretty much my channel mascot here on YouTube. He is a big boy. He weighs over 3,000 grams. He's getting a little bit squirrely. And today what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the questions. As a matter of fact, I'm using StreamYard today so I can pop up the comments and the questions as we go. And we'll answer them, maybe learn something, maybe get some video ideas for a future video. So I'm going to jump right into it. It's been, I don't know, it's been like an hour since this posted. I only got one comment so far. So take a look at this so I can pop it right up. So I can pop up the comments. Ryan Lott says, would love to join, but we'll be in church. Maybe I'll catch you tomorrow. So unfortunately, Ryan's not going to make it. Beryllium Jesse, what's up, brother? World of Reptiles. Been watching for years. I'm glad you're back. I took an 8-year break myself. Yeah, I took a break for like 3 years. And the problem is when you take a break and you're not breeding snakes, you're basically feeding snakes. You either get rid of them all or you're just feeding what you have. I fed a whole bunch of, I think I fed over 60 snakes for 3 years. Let me tell you, without any income coming in from the hatchlings, it's a little intense. All right, let's see. What's up, Micah Sloan? I have a male pewter lesser bongo from BHB. Nice. I was wondering what you look for in a female, if that was your snake. Let's see, male pewter lesser bongo. Well, with the lesser, you could actually do blue-eyed leucistics, mix it with like, well, with lesser, you can actually cross a lesser with any gene in the blue-eyed leucistic complex, and you'll get an all-white snake with blue eyes. Of course, you get rid of the pewter and the bongo. So it depends what you're really going for. There's like hundreds of genes. You can do a lot of stuff. You could do blue-eyed leucistics. You could get into other genes, dark genes or light genes. There's the sky is pretty much the limit. It's one of my most common questions that people ask. They're like, what should I breed with my snake? And it depends on, one thing it really depends on is if you're kind of scaling up and you're looking at the reptile shows. I would go to some local reptile shows and see what's selling at the shows. And if you actually have a gene that's not at your local shows, that would be the ideal thing to go for. So you're not competing with like the guy right next to you on the table selling hatchlings. All right, let's see. Mary Beth Randall, what's up? Glad to see you. Let's see. Long live democracy. That's a good name. What is your take on the Ball Python crash correction? I don't know. It seems like a lot of people are looking at it kind of the wrong way because essentially what happens is you get into projects, you spend a lot of money, and those prices are eventually going to come down. I don't care what morph you have or what combination, it's going to start really high and come sliding down. And say you've paid like $1,500 for a gene that you think you're going to make some money on in a few years. Well, that gene, when it first came out, it was worth like $10,000 or $20,000. So it came down to $1,500, and then 5 years later, it could come down even further to where it's only worth a couple $100. So yeah, it really depends. Yeah, so I would say the ball python crash is really what you're looking at, and the correction, I don't know. It's interesting too because some genes come way down and then they kind of get renewed interest, and some of the big breeders will like jump back into them, and then all of a sudden, people are kind of getting out of that gene. All of a sudden, everyone's like snatching them up, and it kind of dries up the supply. And then the price goes higher and higher, which is kind of crazy. You know what I want to do? I want to take these earbuds out because I just had them in for the intro. Just for the intro. What's up, Beryllium Jesse? Is that Bobby? Yes, this is Bobby, my bamboo ball python, and he is really big. Look at how big he is. He is a big snake. He is one of my very first snakes. I bred him to like 13 females when I first started. And he's produced a lot of bamboos and bamboo combinations over the years. And Now he's basically out of the breeding and he's just a YouTube star, I guess. That's definitely Bobby. Yes, for sure. Micah Sloan. Thank you, Chris. I was thinking a mahogany bongo. That would be pretty cool. Mahogany and bongo. I love the mahogany stuff. World's World of Reptiles. What's up? The market fluctuates with everything. Give it time and the reptile market will swing back up, especially with tax refund season. Yeah, I think it yeah, it kind of ebbs and flows. I think a lot of people kind of get discouraged because you know, they spend a lot of money and then, you know, years later those, I mean, I think the big problem is people get into like some higher end stuff and they keep producing the same stuff over and over and over because they have really big females that can produce a lot of eggs. And if you keep producing the same thing year after year, eventually the price comes down and down and down and down to where it's not really worth it to breed that gene anymore or that combination of genes. So yeah, I think it's I think you need to switch stuff up after a while. Sell some of your snakes. I know it's hard to say because you get really attached to the snakes and you don't want to get rid of them. And it's one of the hardest things I think is to get rid of some of your snakes or most of your snakes like I'm doing this year and get into something completely different. How are the cows doing? The cows, I'm down to one cow. He is a Black Angus. He's a bull. He's not a steer. I kept him intact, and he is a sweetie. Comes over and licks me, and I reach over and hug him. He's just a big old teddy bear. The problem is he gets a little wild and wants to play like a puppy dog, and he probably weighs, I don't know, like 1,500 pounds now. He's about halfway to full size, so yeah, I kind of have to be careful when he's, you know, headbutting my wagon full of hay and kind of jumping around playing like a dog. But yeah, I just have one cow. I was up to 13 cows. They were Black Angus, and it was way, way too much. And they breed like rabbits too. I had so many cows, it was unbelievable. So, all right. Where do you see the monsoon headed? I have not looked at the upcoming monsoon. So the weather has been absolutely crazy. It's been so weird. Up here in Colorado, we've been getting the mildest winters on record. No snow, and every day it's like in the 50s and 60s up here in the mountains at 9,000 feet. So it's extremely unusual. And we've been getting really strong winds, which we never really get that strong a wind. So I don't know what's going on with the weather. it's like completely whacked. I just can't even believe it. And then down in Florida, they're getting like our weather. It's like completely changing around the continent. So I don't know what's causing it. Maybe it's the data centers. Some people say the AI data centers are actually producing a lot of heat that could be changing the weather patterns, but who knows? If you look at the map of all the data centers, there's like tons of them all across the United States. So I think that might have something to do with it too. The cows are in the freezer. Yes, I do have quite a few cows in the freezer. Some of the cows I was selling and decided to butcher my first one. Like maybe I was into cattle for like 10 years and I was just selling them. I wasn't processing any of them. And I did my first one. It was really, really sad. It was a big old bull that we had. And you cry once and then you eat beef for the next 3 years. Let me tell you, there is so much hamburger from that bull. And then I think it helps to have multiple cows that you put in the freezer because you don't know which cow it is that you're actually eating too. So yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword living on a farm, like producing your own food. It's kind of crazy. Fly, Eagles, fly. What's up? I think I keep getting mites from my rat spot, but I prefer doing live and I get a medium for $5. My question, do those mites that eat mites work? Good question. I've heard about those mites that eat mites. As a matter of fact, I did a video on it, I think like 6 or 7 years ago, but I've never actually tried it. I think the problem is when I was looking at it, as a matter of fact, when I was looking at it, I had a mite problem. And to do a whole rack system of, you know, at the time I had probably 150, 180 tubs, something like that, to actually get those mites that eat mites in that many tubs. It wouldn't have been worth it because they're so expensive, unbelievably expensive. So yeah, if you just have like one tub or just a handful of tubs, I think you can get away with it. But I don't know if you could actually do a whole collection with the mites that eat the mites. All right, let's see. Michael Shia, cool to see you're back on YouTube. You're a big influence to me starting breeding myself. I've since quit and sold all my stuff. So yeah, it's never too late to start again. I think a lot of people do go through like different seasons as far as breeding ball pythons, especially if you have like a day job. And when I bought my first collection, it was a guy who was, as a matter of fact, he was buying feeder rats from me. I was breeding my own rats, and I had more than I could deal with. I can't remember how we hooked up, but I was selling feeder rats to him for probably a couple of years, and then he decided, because one of his kids had a lot of medical bills, that he just wanted to completely get out of ball pythons. He just didn't have the time for it. So yeah, so it depends on what you're going through in your life. Like when I had a day job, you know, and I was driving like an hour and a half each way, it's turns into like 12-hour days. You know, if you're working, you know, 8 hours and then an hour for lunch and then 3 hours for the drive, it's pretty crazy. And then trying to do, you know, ball pythons on top of that, you know, squeezing it in on your free time, I'd say it's really difficult to actually do it. So I almost was tempted to get out of it, but I had my YouTube channel. So I kind of wanted to keep it going. That's why I kept feeding my snakes for 3 years. Oh, Bobby's caught up in the cords here. So I'm glad I actually stuck with it, because definitely want to get back into it now, which is pretty cool. Most underrated morph. Good question. Most underrated. Let's see. What would be the most underrated morph? I'm not sure on that one. I'd have to actually think about it. Boy, that's a stumper there. Most underrated morph. You know what? I'm actually going to put that on my my YouTube notes. I actually have a little spreadsheet of notes going for video ideas, and I'll have to think about that. Maybe I'll throw in like 5 or 6 of them, or 10 or something. Most underrated morphs. Most underrated morphs. All right, that's what I need. Some video ideas. Yeah, I was doing. I think I'm going to do just like a week of live streams this year, this week, and then kind of jump back into the long form videos. So looking for some ideas for some long form videos. So I'm trying to perfect my. I'm actually using StreamYard. That's how I'm popping up the comments like this, which is pretty cool. Let's see. Vanilla Jones, what's up? Picking up 3 het TSK this weekend. TSK is a xanthic, if you're wondering. TSK xanthic. Gonna have a dark phase TSK shipped to me soon. Nice. Going to the dark side. I can't remember that breeder that was doing all axanthics. I can't remember his name, but there's a breeder out there that does nothing but axanthics, and he was making some mind-blowing stuff. It was absolutely unbelievable. And it's interesting too, because he was making like the world's first, you know, pure black and white axanthics, and he was selling them for crazy prices, dude, just crazy prices. All right, female hets, male visual, nice. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Chris Blocker, what's up? Most underrated morph, in my opinion, is Mario. That looks great in some combos. You know what? I'm going to put Mario gene. I don't think I've done a video on Mario, so I'll have to check into that one. You know, a lot of those genes, a lot of people haven't worked with them that much. There's one gene I did a video on that I thought was really impressive. It was over in the UK. It was called the Twister. And I actually looked over on Morphmarket. There's one person in the United States that actually imported the Twister. And he bred it, and he's got some Twister combinations over there. And it seems like nobody's really buying them. It's like nobody really knows what they are. So if you're interested in probably the most underrated that I've seen, maybe the Twister, because nobody really knows what it is. It's not really over here. And there's just a few of them over on Morphmarket from the same breeder, which is kind of interesting. Let's see. I think hypo was underrated for the longest time, and people are starting to realize its potential. Yeah. So I think that's kind of the same with a lot of the genes. They just kind of sleep for a while. I think what really happens is maybe there's no new stuff coming out, and people are looking for something to mix in with, some of the combos they have that, no one else has mixed in with those specific combos before. And then they pick up some of this old stuff, and then it makes really fantastic offspring in some cases. And then, it causes a stir in the ball python industry, and then everybody wants it. The old gene that's been kind of forgotten and kind of swept under the rug. I think that's kind of how it goes. How many bikes do I have? Duffman Man, what's up? I have 2 Harleys. I have a 2024 Fat Boy and a 2007 Dyna Street Bob Chopper with the monkey bars and the high sissy bar, and it's kind of all chopped out. And then the Fat Boy, I pretty much left it stock, except I added a bunch of leather bags and leather handle grips and highway pegs and stuff like that. So I didn't really change the handlebars, the muffler, or anything on the Fat Boy. So it's funny, one of my bikes is really low, really quiet, and super fast. And then my other bike is the complete opposite. It's really tall, really loud, the loudest bike you can actually get, and it's quite a bit slower than the Fat Boy. So I have a fast one, a slow one, a tall one, a short one, a loud one, and a quiet one. It's like they're both great to drive. It's just like completely different experiences. Oh yeah, JD Constriction. That's the breeder that does all axanthics. It'd be interesting to go over and see if he's doing anything else besides axanthic. If he's just still like 100% axanthic. Let's see. Hypo was, but it's getting a lot of love lately. Definitely well deserved. Yeah, the other thing about hypo is there's different ghosts. I did quite a few videos on the different ghosts. There's the regular ghost, the orange ghost, the green ghost, and I think the orange ghost is compatible with the normal ghost. And then I think the green ghost might be incompatible with the other 2 versions of ghost. So if you go to a reptile show and you pick up a green ghost, like a het green ghost, and you think you're going to breed it through your collection to your regular ghost, your orange ghost, you might want to check to see if actually anyone's produced a visual with that, because a lot of times they're not compatible as far as what I've heard on the internet. I haven't worked with the ghost myself, so. If you Google pumpkin pie, make it happen. What's up? Let's see. I had a lesser ghost pastel with a couple hets. Was super pumped about him, but he was plagued by prolapse. Ooh, prolapse. I have not seen prolapse. Essentially what prolapse is where their intestines kind of come out of their rear end a little bit, and I don't know what causes it. Just kind of a weird problem. So I think some people say that might be genetic, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't think it's caused from injury or anything like that. So it's kind of an interesting problem with the prolapse. Maybe I'll do a video on that. Prolapse in ball pythons. Yeah, every time I'm like not sure of something, I'll make a video about it, and then I'll study it for like 2 or 3 days nonstop to figure out, exactly what it is. So let's see. Just learned about the Grim morph. Yeah, the Grim, and then the Super Grim. Yeah, I did a video on that a long time ago, the Grim, and then I can't even remember. I think it was the Grim Reaper has the Grim in it. So. Yeah, that's a pretty awesome morph. There's a lot of them that are really undiscovered as far as, it'd be interesting if someone took one of those, you know, one of those genes that have been around for a long time and really worked it out through all the different combinations. That'd be interesting. Mountain Mystic Morphs, howdy, howdy, howdy. What is going on? Looks like we have 30 people in the house. He's out of it now. Let's see. If you Google pumpkin ball python morph, your video pops up for reference. Oh, okay. Nice. Let's see. Got rid of his stuff. That's always sad to hear. People getting rid of their ball pythons. 26 here, only 14 likes. That like button and subscribe. Thank you, Mystic Mountain Morse. I appreciate you saying that in every live stream. That's pretty awesome. Black Rose Pythons. What is going on? Hello. Are you still doing the papaya mango tree project? Yeah, I decided to get rid of all my papayas. I started growing a bunch of papayas. I had a whole living room full of papayas. It looked pretty cool. And then we just got tired of watering them. We downsized our plants too. We downsized a lot. I got rid of the mice and the rats and most of the cows and the chickens and the ducks. And then I was eyeing the plants. I was like, we got way too many plants. Got rid of the fish tank. You know, I was just so overworked from work. And then I had, you know, the snakes too. And I didn't want to get rid of the snakes, so I got rid of everything else. And we actually took all the papayas, put them outside on the deck. Looked really awesome. And we just left them freeze. Like, get rid of those papayas. We just kind of grew them from seeds. So yeah, you can always grow them again. Let's see. Most of the time, prolapse is caused by dehydration. Wow, that's unusual. I did not know that. Interesting. Let's see. I have 9 ball pythons, never bred, but wanted to. Your videos were inspirational years ago. I'm glad you're planning to keep on keeping these up. They are wonderful. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, I tried to bring more information and I guess inspiration to the ball python industry. It's weird because when I was posting every day, it seemed like, you know, everyone was trying to keep up, and there was like multiple channels posting almost every single day. And now you go over to YouTube, it's like no one's really posting every day. You see, you know, some people doing like once a week or once a month, you know, and it's just like not that many people are actually posting ball python videos. You know, a lot of people are posting like, you know, reptiles, and they'll do like green tree pythons and then tortoises and just random reptiles, you know, trying to hit every market with their video, but they're not really, you know, known for one thing. They're kind of scattered all over the place. So I kind of wanted to come back just because I saw another gap in YouTube that a lot of people aren't really posting. The other reason I'm coming back too is because you go over to YouTube and it's all AI generated videos, and it's sad that YouTube's, you know, losing the people that are actually doing the personal stuff, and it's all being taken over by AI avatars and auto-generated content. So I was like, I think people need to see some real people over here on YouTube to kind of compete with all the AIs. All right, let's see. I had one baby prolapse and it healed me by me putting it in a couple times. Interesting. So you just kind of stuffed it back in. Huh. Did you like use your finger to stick it back in? Or a Q-tip? Or how'd you do that? That is interesting. Never had that problem. That's weird. All right, Mystic Mountain Morph says, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, y'all. Thank you very much. Let's see. Do I use Reptisafe in your water bowls? No. What I actually use is reverse osmosis water. So I actually bought this really nice reverse osmosis water filter that we use for drinking water. And it goes through like a particulate filter, and then a carbon filter, and then a reverse osmosis, and then the last canister actually adds back in alkaline minerals, so you're not drinking reverse osmosis water. And all of our drinking water and all the snakes drinking water. As a matter of fact, I actually run it in my humidifier too. So but the water is perfect. No need to treat the water. And then most of these have like disposable deli cups, so I just throw them out and replace the deli cups. I used to try to clean the deli cups, but it's, yeah, it's a lot of work cleaning deli cups. And I actually found them. I can't remember where I was buying them. I was paying a lot for them, and then I found them over on Amazon. Kind of the weird thing is the last time I ordered from the really expensive place, they sent me a different brand of deli cups, and then I searched Amazon and found them for like a fraction of the cost. I just started buying them on Amazon, and now they're so cheap. I usually save some of them for like waste and stuff like that, kind of, like cleaning dead mice out of my tubs after a feeding or something like that. The ones that don't get eaten, but most of them I just toss and I just replace them. Recycle the old deli cups. Let's see. Renan, what's up? Really like sugar morph lately. The struggle is real when deciding which morphs to get. That is for sure. Too bad you couldn't buy just one snake with 200 morphs in it, and you can 200 genes in one snake, and then you can just breed through your whole collection and then produce everything. Just kind of like a whole rainbow stuff. That'd be pretty cool. Of course, most of your stuff would have so many genes, you wouldn't know what it was just by looking at it. Let's see. I'm also glad you're back. It was you, Brian, and Billy that got me started out. Billy, yeah, Billy was, yeah, he was pretty big into the egg cutting. Billy's kind of crazy. He uses those big old scissors and just goes whoosh, right over the top of the eggs, like, man. And here I am with my little tiny scissors, making sure not to cut anything. Yeah, it kind of freaks me out. I got pretty good towards the end after cutting like 1,000 eggs or whatever it was. But yeah, Billy's just like crazy with that big old scissors cutting those eggs. Yeah, it was pretty interesting watching all those guys. And Brian Barczyk is the one that got me started back in the day. Yeah, he was the the one that got me addicted for sure. Yeah, glad you're back. Thank you, Beryllium Jesse. Miss Brian, yeah, definitely a void from his passing. I still can't believe he passed away. That is crazy. What are you doing, Bobby? Oh, all right. There we go. I got to put you down for a bit. He's getting a little squirrely. All right. Subscribe to DJ Bandana Black. Nice name. Yeah, YouTube content for us new reptile owners is horrible lately. Everything is 8 years old. Yeah, so need to make some more content for sure. So yeah, I was just kind of trying to perfect my live stream basically this week. So I started doing it with just my camera, and then now actually my last one I did StreamYard, and then this one I'm doing the upgraded version of StreamYard, so you don't see all the logos and everything. But there's a better way to do it where I can actually hook my camera directly to my laptop and kind of hijack my laptop to where I can run. Instead of streaming from my camera, going to the cloud, and then back to here, I can run it directly into StreamYard. And then I actually have more controls over the contrast and the brightness and the color and everything, so I can adjust all that before I do a live, because right now nothing's adjusted. And then once it's posted to YouTube, you can't adjust any of that unless I like download it and then delete it, which would delete all the comments. So it's like you're stuck. I think I got the light color a little. Yeah, doing the whole studio thing, it can be real. It can take a lot of time. People don't realize. All right, let's see. It's like use clean hands and my fingers to push it back in. That is pretty crazy. Pushing in a prolapse with your fingers. All right, if it works, right? That is very interesting. Let's see. Did it block my question again? Let's see. You know what? I am going to go over to... that's a good question. So I'm actually over here on StreamYard. I'm not actually on YouTube, but I can open up the YouTube. I was wondering if all the comments are coming over here all right, let's see. Let's see. Interesting. All right, so I'm over here on YouTube looking for Mystic Mountains, Mystic Mountain Morph. 26 here, only 14 likes. I think that was the last one that showed up over here on this end. So the last one was interesting from Mystic. It looks like they're all coming through. All right. It looks like they're all coming through. Heather Bruner, what's up? Everyone like for Chris, please. Thank you, Heather. I will take the likes. I will take the likes. The more likes, you know what's the other thing is when someone hits the little heart button, it actually shows up in my YouTube studio as an interaction to the video. And it says, you know, someone interacted with the video like 100 times. They hit the little heart button like 100 times. So I don't know if that it seems like that really helps just by instead of hitting the like, hit the little heart button. You know, the little hearts come up. I don't know if I can see the little hearts over here. Maybe you can see it over here on. Yeah, you can see it on YouTube. I can't see it on StreamYard. There's no hearts on StreamYard. That's a bummer. And the problem is if I stream on, if I open up the YouTube tab the same time as StreamYard, it's like double streaming. And I think my video kind of freezes up, like one little kind of 1 second pauses, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, bummer I can't see the hearts over here. That's a bummer. I'm kind of really bummed about that. All right, let's see. Do you think the smoke morph is visually strong enough or worth getting into? The smoke morph. I have never heard of the smoke morph. I'm going to put that in my notes. Is that a real morph? Smoke? The smoke gene? Yeah, I got to get caught up. That's why I'm doing lives too, is because everyone's like, hey, check this out, check this out. And I'm like, what? It's been 3 years since I even thought about ball pythons. So it's been a while. What was my first snake? My very first snake was a black and white king snake. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And it was really big. It was an adult. And I was thinking about breeding it. When I first started, I was like obsessed with Brian Barczyk, and he was like breeding all kinds of stuff. He was breeding, you know, king snakes and corn snakes and ball pythons and boas and retics, and he had all these projects going on. And I decided to get out of. I had my first snakes for, I don't know, probably maybe a year, and then I decided to just focus on ball pythons. I got rid of all my snakes. Got rid of the king snake that I really loved. Had some corn snakes. Had some black and white king snakes that were really cool. That were a lot skinnier and I can't remember what they called them. Yeah, but they were pretty awesome. I love the king snakes. They were really mellow, and they would always eat. Not like a ball python. It keeps getting rid of my question on the one gene. Huh? I don't know. That's weird. Yeah. Maybe you can. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I have the moderator filter turned off, so it shouldn't be blocking anything, which is interesting. Unless it just doesn't like that word. Try to put some spaces between some of the letters or something. Maybe kind of confuse it. What's up, Nennes Noodles? Happy to see you're back and going. Yes, I am back and going. Trying to improve my live streams this week. I'm gonna see if I can kind of tweak my camera tomorrow. Have a better camera brightness, contrast, intensity. I don't know. This looks like it's coming out pretty good though. I changed my lights from kind of a yellow to more of a white light, so. Seems like it's coming out good. What do I think of the TSK snow? So that would be the Axanthic albino, correct? Which is pretty awesome. The snows are pretty awesome. I think if you make a snow, it probably doesn't really matter what kind of it probably doesn't matter what kind of Axanthic that you use. It'd be interesting to compare the different lines of Axanthic with because the albino is so visually dominant. When you mix in the TSK is one of the best, I think, as far as the Axanthics, the TSK. I think that's what JD Constrictor uses too, is mostly the TSK stuff, which is a pretty cool line. TSK is short for the Snake Keeper. I think that's where it originated. The Snake Keeper Reptiles, reptile breeder. You're gonna have to do a video on the most overrated morphs. I want to put that down too. Let's see. Most overrated genes. I'm putting that on my list. I am making a list. Oh, I wanted to show you this too. I found a new feature in StreamYard where I can show you a tab on my computer. So take a look at this. This is pretty cool. So I can pull up Morphmarket. Pull up Morphmarket, and then I can come over here and I'll be like, check this out. There's one thing I wanted to show you. So for example, if you put in Lemon Blast, someone showed me this in one of the last live streams. You do Lemon Blast and it doesn't break out the genes. It just says Lemon Blast. And you can't really know what genes are in the Lemon Blast. And it doesn't break out the genes. You used to actually, do the pastel pinstripe in the Lemon Blast. But what you can actually do is come down here to Genes and Traits, and then click the No Additional Traits right here. And it'll bring up what a Lemon Blast is, a pastel pinstripe. So, of course, there's a Killer Blast over here, so it doesn't always work. So Killer Blast is the super pastel. So that's like it's not a killer, it's a Killer Blast or a Super Blast with the super pastel, not a Lemon Blast. But I thought that was pretty cool that I can actually share my screen like that and then instantly remove it. So that's a kind of a cool feature of StreamYard over here. Let's see. Yeah, I was looking at getting it. You should check out the Super Smoke. Did we? Oh, let's see. Did we? I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think this is where we're at. All right. Yeah. I was looking at. Yeah. When I uncheck a comment, I'm like, where was I? Because it doesn't hold my place. Especially going back and forth. If I share my screen, I have to unclick my comment, which is kind of weird. Still getting used to this software over here. All right, yeah, I was looking at it. You should check out the Super Smoke. Looks cool. I have a Het Monsoon with smoke. All right, I am going to, in addition to Smoke Gene and Super Smoke. So sometimes those genes, if they're not really well known, then there's not a lot of them on Morphmarket. Sometimes there's only like 3 of them or something. It's like, I don't know what the potential is, and it's hard to do a video. So sometimes it's actually hard to do a video. So, all right, let's see. Make it happen. What's up? There have been so many videos on the business side of snakes, maybe prompted by so many people getting out. Maybe. Yeah, I know there was one channel that's all they did on their whole channel is the business side. It's like, I don't know. I can see some business videos, but a whole channel on the business side, it's kind of interesting. It's definitely not what I'm doing. I kind of want to do kind of the genetic side and kind of the excitement of the ball python industry. Because it's hard, the business side, it's so unpredictable and it changes so much, and so many people can lose a lot of money too. So it's hard to give advice, and then people take that advice, and then they lose a bunch of money, and then that's not very good for your channel. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to do. As a matter of fact, I don't have many business videos at all. Maybe, you know, how to make, you know, so much money with so many ball pythons. I think I did one video like that, but other than that, that's about it. You should do a video on the true name of morphs, like Pinstripe and Enchi is really Stinger Blast, or Butterfire is Nuclear. Yeah, for a while, Morphmarket used to have this page. You know, now they have a page where they list all the genes, but they used to have a page that they listed all the combos. And that's where I got the idea for a lot of my videos, like the Leatherface and all the stuff like that, where, you know, like the combination of all the different genes. Because, you know, there's like hundreds. I'd say there's probably like 500, literally 500 different combinations of different genes that they kind of shorten like that. So I don't know if you could do it all in one video. And I think they took that page down. I don't think they actually have it anymore. So it'd be hard to actually find it again. Although I think I did have that. I showed it in one of my old live streams, I think, where I pulled it up and I kind of showed the page where they had all the different combinations of different genes, like, you know, Lemon Blast. And the other problem is, a lot of times you'll have like 7 or 8 different names for the same combination of genes. So you're turning like 500 into, you know, like 800 different names. If you went through all the different names, it would get kind of boring just going through all the names, I think. I don't know how I would actually do a video like that. Volkfire, what's up? Wow, hi, I haven't seen you in a long time. Yeah, it's been like 3 years since I was doing videos. And then lately here, I think I've been posting a video a day for, I've been taking Saturdays off. I took President's Day off too, but I've been posting for, this is my 3rd week back doing regular videos. So cranking them out again, cranking them out. Held coil pythons, what's up? Let's see. Yeah, I did a video on the combo names a while back, but yeah, it's I did a video on the I think it was called Kings and Queens and Emperors or something like that. And that was just a handful with the, I can't even remember, the Kingpin, the Queen Spin, the Emperor, and all those. But that was just like a small subset of all the names. So yeah, I made like a whole table of it and went through all the different combinations and like the 8 different names for each. Like I think one of the names had 8 different common names for one combination of genes. I can't even remember what it was, and I'd have to go back and look at the video. Reptiles, late, but I made it, Chris. Everybody smash the like button and subscribe. Thank you. OBY, it's the new one to me. I heard about the other night. OBY? Is that a gene? OBY? Really? Interesting. Let's see. World of Reptiles. What's what project are you most excited about this season? Making a bunch of bamboos. What I'm doing, I'm taking a bamboo calico pinstripe male and I'm breeding it through 9 females, producing a whole bunch of bamboo stuff. I have one that's a banana het clown with a pinstripe. The interesting thing is, so I'm breeding a pinstripe to a pinstripe in quite a few of these combinations, and a calico to a calico in a lot of these combinations. And I don't know if I've ever seen anyone make a super pinstripe and then prove it out to where they show that the whole clutch is all pinstripes. So that'd be kind of interesting to make a super pinstripe. And what I've heard, the super pinstripe does exist, and that the super pinstripe looks exactly like a pinstripe. And the only way you can tell the difference is through genetic testing. So that's kind of an interesting project. The other one I'm looking forward to is breeding that male, the bamboo calico pinstripe, to my lesser triple het. So I'll get potentially blue-eyed leucistic that could have the calico and the pinstripe, triple het albino pied clown, which would be really cool is if I could make something like that with a lot of different genes all in the same snake. So I got some pretty cool stuff going on. And then the super calico, I don't know if I've ever seen anyone make a super calico to where you could breed it and all the offspring are calicos. So and I've heard the super calico looks like the calico too. So those are kind of interesting projects I'm working on. So breeding a few pinstripes to my pinstripe. So make the super pinstripe. Let's see, I'm building my collection while the world is all messed up. Hopefully things will get better soon for all of us. Yes. So, yeah, so the world's all messed up. The best way to fix it, turn off the TV and watch some Ball Python videos. People are like talking about all this stuff. Is like, I just gave up watching the TV. It's like, you know, it's like one ridiculous story after another. It's kind of disheartening. You just turn off the TV. It fixes it all. Of course, you don't know what's going on too. Let's see. My male Bol Python doesn't want a lock. It's his first time. He's about 1,000 grams. What you can do. As a matter of fact, I paired up a snake this week. The first one I paired up, and what I actually did is as I held the female and I held the male and I put them together in my lap, kind of getting them used to each other. So they're not afraid of each other. They kind of coil all around and get used to each other and maybe hold them like that for maybe 15, 20 minutes, something like that. Then take your male and your female. If you're using coconut husk, you can actually put them in the tub and then take like a watering can like you use for plants, like house plants, that has the sprinkler head on it, and put some warm water in there, 85-degree water, something like that. Put both snakes on top of each other and then just water them down. And for whatever reason, when you water them down, it seems like they both kind of snap out of whatever they're thinking and they go kind of into the same mood. And I found that actually will help the locking. With 1,000-gram male, he should be locking. I would say I've had like 700-gram males, 700-gram males that were locking. So a lot of times I think it's the snakes are just scared of each other. I think that's what it is. They've never been around another snake and they're intimidated. So you kind of give them a little help. I think that helps a lot. Let's see. Give him time. Yeah, you can try to give him time too. Yeah, sometimes they don't. What I actually do is I'll breed like a male with a female for like 5 days, give them a couple days off, and then feed them, and then pair them back up the next week. And usually it takes about 3 weeks before you get some really good locks on your males. And sometimes you won't see the locks. Sometimes they'll be locking and you won't even realize that they're locking. I've had pairs that I've never seen a lock and they still lay eggs. So yeah, I'd say most of the time it's a short lock. Some of these snakes, they'll lock up for an hour or two and they won't lock again, and the female's bred. So that's another time. Unless you have like a camera on them and then you're reviewing the footage over 24 hours. I don't know if you'll see the lock. So have I talked about the berry gene? Berry gene. I have it on my list. It is on my list. I have not talked about the berry gene. Looks like a type of hypo or desert ghost. Interesting. I'm gonna actually make a note on that. Looks like hypo? Question mark. Yeah. So a lot of these, yeah, it takes, in order to make a video, it takes quite a bit of research, looking through all the, the websites and the. Sometimes I'll go back to some of the videos and see how people are explaining it, and multiple videos and Morphmarket, and just kind of put it all together and then try to summarize it. And then usually in my gene videos, what I'll do is I try to summarize, what I think about it and what everyone else thinks about that gene. And then usually I try in the first like 3 minutes of the video to try to summarize the whole thing, so you don't really have to watch the whole video. You don't want, you're like, what was that again? You can go back to my video, and then in the first couple minutes, you're like, oh yeah, that's right, that's what that is. And then hopefully I'm right, because you know, some of these, you know, when I do them, a lot of times they're undiscovered still, or not really worked with. And then years later, people start working into other combinations, and you know, the information's kind of outdated. It's like, oh yeah, you can do 20 more things with that gene. So, Dickie Foster, what's up? All right. What's up? What's up? All right, let's see. Jay, what I do is put another male shed in there. Yeah, I've heard that can do it too. Another thing that I've heard too is that you should put the male in with the female versus putting the female in with the male, as far as the order of pairing. So I don't know if you're putting the female in with the male, but you might try it the other way around. You can put in a, yeah, doing that, and the shed thing is kind of the old school kind of the old school way to do it. Yeah, 70% of the time it works for me with the shed. Yeah. Hey Chris, just seeing or worked with the scrambler. That morph is amazing with Orange Dream. Definitely. Let's see. I think scrambler. I have not done the scrambler. I'm gonna put C with OD. I want to check that out from one of my next videos. I got like 100 video topics. So just trying to perfect my live stream this week. Once I get that down, then I can go back to the, I'm trying to do like 5 videos Monday through Friday, kind of a long form video. And then on Saturday, do a live stream. That's kind of, and then Sunday, take the day off. So that's going to be my kind of my routine schedule. Let's see. Yes, that is an idea. 60% of the time. Yeah, the other thing is if you throw a shed in there with your male and female and they breed, then you think, oh, it was because of the shed. And when in reality, maybe you didn't even see them lock. Maybe they were going to lock anyways. So you never really know with these ball pythons. All right, PetSmart. What's up, PetSmart? My ball python keeps eating his food butt first. Always makes me nervous. It won't harm him, will it? The only time I've seen a ball python eat a rodent the reverse way is if you actually have a younger hatchling, because the problem is if you fed like Bobby a rodent and he tried to eat it tail first, the tail would get in the way of a big rat. Most of the times they can't get it in their mouth tail first because of that big tail. But with the smaller, like a rat pup or something like that, they can eat it forward or backward. It doesn't really matter. But once they get bigger, yeah, it's pretty much only one way. I've actually seen some trying to eat bigger rats the other way, and they'll eventually spit it out and figure it out. They can turn it around and eventually eat it the right way. All right, let's see. OBY looks like hypo. I don't know if it's short for a combo or exactly what it is. Oh, okay. Let me go back to that one here. OBY, gene or combo? I'll look into that one for sure. Let's see. My dragonfly spider I got from a breeder on Morphmarket is a hatchling that had a bad corkscrew. It's not disclosed to me. That's awful, awful, awful. I would ban that breeder. Yeah, the breeder should be up front. If there's something wrong with the ball python, especially a head wobble, they should definitely tell you. That is not good business at all. So, you know, like I'll say, I have a big male spider for sale. It's like something bit him right on the nose. He's kind of like a little chunk of his nose taken out of his nose, and he has a slight head wobble. I don't care. I marked him way down. He's a beautiful animal. It's, you know, people should know what you're getting into if you get something like that. Especially a wobble or corkscrew. That's crazy. Have I ever tried natural maternal incubation? No, I haven't. I've seen some people do it with larger snakes, and the problem is if you scare the female, sometimes the female can constrict, and it squashes all the eggs. And kind of just destroys the whole batch of eggs. The problem is too is the humidity is really hard to control with the you know, the hatchlings. Trying to control the humidity with the female on top. The other problem is that I found probably the biggest thing why I don't do maternal incubation is because a lot of times if you can get that female off the eggs, especially if you take it off the eggs and then give the female a bath, like wipe her down and completely clean her of all the egg scent and change out her substrate, move her to a new tub. Sometimes she'll go back on food with, like, you know, the next couple days she'll go back on food and she'll start eating good again. But if you keep her on eggs, she'll just stop feeding for a long time, for, you know, for until those eggs hatch. Sometimes weeks after those eggs hatch, she'll be off of food. So I do it mainly for the female, just so I can get her back on food for the next breeding season. So, and so I can control the temperature and the humidity more precisely on those eggs too. But I always thought it'd be interesting to try maternal incubation on one of them. But here it's just so dry. It's, you know, the relative humidity is like 11% or something like that. And it's like, even with my humidifier going through like 2.5 gallons of water every day, I'm still like at 40% here in my reptile room. So that's why I'm like going in all my tubs, adding more moisture, you know, to the tubs to increase it even more. When you had a small collection, yeah, now I have, well, yeah, I had a big collection. I am downsizing. I shipped 2 snakes out today, so I am downsizing for sure. I think I'm only holding back like maybe 15 snakes, so it's going to be pretty small. Breeding just 9 females. And then maybe a couple retics, maybe 1 retic, I don't know. And then Bobby. And then maybe a couple extra males on the side I might keep, just to kind of mix things up in the next years. But yeah, I want to get completely into different genes and do things completely different. So that's kind of what I'm shooting for. Had him for 11 years. My father says he's just a butt guy. Oh, so it's a big snake. That's interesting. That is really interesting. I've never seen an adult ball python eat the butt first in the rats. That is very interesting. Let's see. Reverse cow, what's up? As of now, I only have a normal female ball python. What else should I get? Well, that's a good question. Actually, when I bought Bobby, I was trying to produce as many bamboos as possible. And believe it or not, I bred him to quite a few normals. So I bred him to, I think I had like 4 normals. So I produced a whole bunch of normals. And kind of the funny thing is that my best-selling snakes were bamboos and normals. Because either they wanted a bamboo for my videos or they wanted a normal. You know, you go to a reptile show and that's the first thing that sells is your cheap normals. But the only problem is if you're selling normals, yeah, you probably can't even break even unless you have other genes in the mix. So I would probably avoid breeding a normal to a normal. What I would do is I would get a male that has multiple genes. Maybe, I mean, if you're just starting out and you just have a normal female, probably the best thing to do to get a male with like 4 co-dominant genes that are really easy to see, like pinstripe and coral glow and genes that are really obvious. Maybe blackhead, you know, blackhead because it'd be a super dark snake or something like that. And that way, if you breed it, you can easily identify your offspring instead of trying to figure out, you know, hets or something like that, which may be, I've seen people get into like pieds and they'll breed pieds to normals and get all hets and then try to breed the hets back to the pieds and get so discouraged because they have all normal looking snakes. So I would probably start with something that's easily visual to like a new ball python person. Chat's being so finicky tonight. It keeps deleting all my comments. Interesting. That's weird. You know what I could try? That's weird. I don't think I have any kind of let me look. Let me look. I thought somewhere in the settings over here in StreamYard it had a filter. I don't see any kind of a filter at all. Yeah, because they have those automatic filters on YouTube where you can set them to like a moderate filter or a strict filter, or you can like put in keywords and it'll actually filter out. As a matter of fact, I should check my keywords over on YouTube. I think that's in my YouTube studio. I can go over there real quick. See, I don't think that would be in my, I think upload defaults over in YouTube studio. So that would be in settings, upload defaults, advanced settings. It says comments on, moderation none. So it shouldn't be moderating. I don't know what's going on. It's a lot of people have said, "Hey, my comments keep being missed," and I don't see them. It's just weird. All right, what do you like? Rubber Skull? Oh, that's a username. Let's see. Have I ever seen a banana albino pied? I have not seen a banana albino pied. I would imagine it would be albino pied with a bit more orange, like a super orange pied, which would be interesting. That would be really interesting, especially if you mixed in like some orange dream or something like that. I bet you can make some really crazy banana albino pies, which would be pretty awesome. Did that to me too. Weird. It's hard enough to get comments and YouTube's deleting them. I don't think I have. I'll have to check over here on. I remember when I set up the stream to not moderate the comments. I can't remember where the setting is, but I don't know if I can get to it now. But I don't think. Let's see. General. No. Recording. I don't see any any moderation in here at all. It's weird. Yeah, I bet that's a stunning snake. That's pretty amazing. Deleted 4 comments. What? Oh, that's crazy. I have no idea why it's doing that. I'll have to look into that. I didn't need to complain to YouTube. Well, it's kind of weird here because I'm going through StreamYard into YouTube. So basically, StreamYard is controlling YouTube, which I have never really done before. I did it the last time I streamed, but this is the first time I upgraded to the pro version of StreamYard. So I'll have to see if there's any kind of a glitch there, which is weird. There's a lot of glitches that I had to overcome trying to get this to communicate and everything to work. So yeah, I'm actually using my lapel mic plugged into my laptop. I was plugging it into my phone, which was giving me some weird effects because it had to go, Bluetooth to the receiver, to my phone, to the cloud, back to StreamYard. It was crazy. Anyway, technical difficulties. See, one was sold to me as that, but I don't see the banana, but the albino color a lot lighter than the other albino. Huh. Might be time to do some gene testing, do some DNA testing. I always wonder, a lot of people posting snakes over on Morphmarket, it's hard because you want to do a video and use stuff on Morphmarket as an example, but there's mistakes over there. Let me tell you, there are mistakes. People misidentifying ball pythons for sure over there. I saw several the other day. Especially if you start looking at, you know, thousands and thousands of ball pythons. Even in my collection, I've misidentified some. And then after a while, you start thinking about it. You're like, I don't think it actually has pastel in it. And you start changing your mind about it. And it's weird too, because the snakes, oh, excuse me, the snakes can really change as they get older. So, yeah, you think a hatchling might have something, and then it gets older, and then you start double, you know, second guessing yourself because they like all look the same now. It's like, what's going on? Because, you know, they get older and the colors fade and the, you know, the patterns change. Yeah, it can be really tricky sometimes. Had to space out certain words to get it to post the comments. That's not good, man. That's not good. What's going on with the comments? I have no idea what's going on. Let's see. Terrible TCM. What's up? Love your videos. Had a lesser ghost for 5 months. Nice. A lesser ghost. That is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool combination. Is it the regular ghost, the orange ghost, or the green ghost? There's a lot of different ghosts. Oh, let's see. If I type smoke without a space, it automatically deleted it. What? Smoke? Smoke? All right, I want to type smoke just to see what it does. I can actually type comments here. Take a look at this. Let's see. I think I can. Let's see. Smoke. Let's see. Let's see. Smoke. I posted it. It worked. I don't know. That's weird. That's weird. Let's see. Yeah, my PetSmart, my albino, a lot brighter. Interesting. Let's see. Dan Cook, what's up? I bought a pair of yellow belly clowns last night for $25 for both. Wow. Was that like on the auction or something? I've seen some crazy prices on those auctions. It's like, what are you guys even doing? You're giving snakes away over there. It's crazy. Yellow belly clowns for $25. Sounds like, yeah, it's almost a good market to start flipping snakes. You know, people used to do that back in the day. They'd buy stuff like this. As a matter of fact, when you went to a reptile show, I had a whole bunch of normals. I probably had like 15 normals. I was selling for like $25, and some guy from another table comes over and he's like, hey, I want to buy all your normals. So I sold him all my normals, brings them over to his table, and he's selling for $50. So he's doubling the money, and he sold them all. I couldn't believe it. It's like, yeah, so yeah, a lot of people will flip snakes. The only thing, if you flip snakes, you're potentially at risk of mites. You'd have to have some, you know, really strong biosecurity, mites and all the other stuff, like, the mouth problems, the mouth rot or whatever they call it. A lot of different diseases you can pass onto ball pythons. Matter of fact, there was one where I can't remember what disease it was, but there was a video about it. Some guy caught it, bought a snake that had it, and he brought it into his collection. It was, I think it was like endemic boa disease that's really common in boas, and someone was keeping boas and ball pythons together. His ball python caught the disease, and then he sold the ball python to some guy who bought it and brought it into his collection. It killed every ball python he had in his whole collection, completely wiped him out, and he completely got out of ball pythons. There was a video about it. It was like probably 5 years ago, something like that. But that was crazy. And if you're flipping snakes, I don't know, that would be pretty scary. Dealing with stuff like that, bringing in a disease that can completely wipe you out. Let's see. Greg, what's up? My dragonfly spider is doing great. She's 3 years, eating like a champion. I feed her in an empty tub. Nice. Yeah, my spider eats every single time. People dog on spiders, but they are good eaters, which is kind of crazy. The other thing, which is interesting, I want to check over here on YouTube. I don't know if I've had any super chats or if if super chats would actually show up on StreamYard. It's like the little hearts aren't showing up over there. I hope I didn't miss any super chats. So yeah, I don't know if StreamYard will actually notify me of a super chat. So hopefully I haven't missed your. Let me look through some of the comments here. It's weird on not being on YouTube. It's just kind of weird. All right, let's see. I'd ask your favorite gene, but I think I can guess bamboo. Yes, my favorite gene is bamboo. Probably my second favorite is pinstripe. Probably my third favorite is coral glow, believe it or not. I love the coral glows and the bananas. They are really awesome. And they're really visually dominant, and you can definitely tell if you have coral glow, bananas, or pinstripes. And yeah, that's basically what I started with. So yeah, I'm kind of, downsizing my collection to where I just have stuff like that. And calico is one of my favorites too. So, I'll just keep a small collection, kind of continue breeding that stuff. And then I want to get into some different genes, some completely different genes. So I don't know. Puzzle is, I might pick up some het puzzles. Yeah, maybe something with like a whole bunch of genes. I don't know. Desert ghosts might be one of the most overrated, or not overrated, but overproduced, maybe. It seems like you go over to Morphmarket, everything's desert ghost, visual desert ghost. It's like unbelievable how many people got into desert ghost, which is crazy. I'm kind of looking for something that's a little bit more out of the way, that isn't so mass produced. So you don't go to the reptile show and the guy next to you has desert ghosts and you have a whole table full of desert ghosts. So I think puzzle is kind of, not a lot of people are into puzzle. So as far as, I don't know, I'd have to go back over to Morphmarket to see how many people are into puzzle. Super Banana Orange Dream Pin Enchi. Wow. That sounds like an awesome snake right there. Super Banana Orange Dream. That's bright. With the pinstripe, you can see the pinstripe. Enchi mixes up the pattern, makes it a little brighter. Yeah, that would be a good combination. Pokey Guy Arcs, what's up? I've been fighting getting normal females because I can tell if they're worth it. I'm wanting to start breeding with my ivory, GHI hypo, banana pied males, but I don't know what to do. Yeah. So when I first started out, one of the reasons I got so many normal females is because I go over to Morphmarket and get full-size, massive normal females for like $200. That would produce like 12 to 15 eggs. Absolutely massive females. And that's why I got a lot of my really big snakes over there. I just got the biggest ones over there. And you can get them really super cheap. And if you're just starting out, you're trying to cover your expenses the first year. That's the hard part, because you're buying snake racks and snakes and beddings and food, and there's like no return on investment for like 3 years. I mean, that's the best way to start, is get a bunch of normals, start breeding stuff right away, get some hatchlings, get some experience with the eggs and incubating and all that stuff. And then, yeah. And then sell your normal females after you grow some stuff up. Maybe get some other stuff, get some smaller, females with a lot of genes in it. Grow them up for 3 years and then just cycle out your females as you go. That's what I would do. Let's see. It's anytime I mention slithery reptile where it bans your comments. That's interesting. I don't know what's going on with YouTube deleting the comments, but that's weird. It's just YouTube, they censor so many words now. No, it's weird because in StreamYard and on YouTube, I don't have any censorship at all turned on. I have it all turned off. So I don't know what's going on. I haven't put any swear words in yet, but I don't know. I've seen people swear in the comments on other channels, and it seems like it goes through, which is kind of weird. So what's up? Mossy Morphworks, what is up? Your test came through. Let's see, has anyone seen one of those jack-o'-lantern pythons? Jack-o'-lantern. I assume you're talking about the like emojis. Emojis. I did a whole video on emojis, and there was, believe it or not, there's a certain combination of genes that creates the emojis. I can't remember what it is. I think it might be leopard pieds that create the emojis, but it was certain genes that you mix in with the pied would give you the emojis, the kind of the jack-o'-lantern picture on the side of the snake. So just kind of a random occurrence. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Show us your top 5 snakes. Well, yeah, I don't really have a top 5. Don't really have a top 5. Yeah, I'm kind of selling everything. So most of the stuff's sold or, you know, waiting to be paid off or waiting to be shipped out. So I shipped off a couple today. So I'm just down to like 9 females. I'd say Bobby is one of my best ones. I got my male is actually one of my best ones, but he's actually with a female right now. They are up in the tub breeding. Yeah, and then I have nothing really that interesting. I have another one kind of like Bobby with some calico, a smaller female. So yeah, nothing really worth bragging about right now. Just trying to produce a bunch of bamboos because a lot of people want bamboos. So yeah, sold my Desert Ghost. I was like, so many people were like tire kicking over that Desert Ghost. It's a pastel inchy Desert Ghost, beautiful male, and finally sold that. Some guy put a down payment on it. That one and a couple others that were like, I was surprised. I had a coral glow with some pastel in it that was super bright, super bright, and someone just bought that one too, which is like, I'm surprised that one didn't go first. Right after that video that video went out where I went through all my snakes, I thought that's the first one that's going to go, and people bought like 5 or 6 snakes before that one. I was actually surprised on that one. And I had about maybe 10 people ask about the retic fettuccine. Everyone's like, how big is it gonna get? That's like the main question. How big is it gonna get? You know, will I end up with a monster snake? And I always say it depends how much you feed it. If you feed a retic every day, it's gonna get big. I don't care if it has super dwarf in it or not. It's gonna get big. Even spacing isn't working. That's weird. I'd ask you to write what word are you trying to write? It's blocking the comments. That is very weird. There's my smoke comment. Smoke comes through. Do you have any snakes you keep as pets? So I have this one, Bobby, that I'm keeping as a pet. I have another one I can show you. I think I'm going to keep as a pet. Just because it has a little kink, which is kind of sad. But I think it's going to be a pet. All right, Bobby's taking a break. Here's as a matter of fact, I was showing this off in my video where I showed all my snakes for sale, and some guy in a rescue was like, "I'll take that white one." This is a Bamboo Lesser. I don't know how good it's going to show up on the live stream. I don't know how good that's going to show up on the live stream. Let's see if I can totally get out of the picture. Yeah, and there's one little kink right past the neck. Let's see. I don't know if you can see it. Barely, just right there. Just a tiny little bump. You can't even hardly see it. Maybe if you see it from this angle right here. See if you can see that tiny little bump, but yeah. Poor guy. And this one, this is a male. Bamboo Lesser. Possible calico. Really cool snake. I hate to sell it because it's kinked. I don't really want to sell it because I don't really want to breed it because it's kinked. Pretty much my pet. It's got the bobby bamboo with lesser. It's a white snake, so never been around my neck before. We'll see what he does. SMP. Uh-oh, whoa. Yeah, that was a live auction. Yeah, people are getting they're losing their shirts on those auctions, man. You know, posting snakes super cheap, thinking people are gonna bid them up, and it's like, man, I would not auction over there. Yeah, what I would do is if I auction something, I'd put a minimum price for sure. You know a reasonable price. You don't want to lose your shirt in the auction. I suppose if you have to move or something, I don't know, $25 for 2 of those clowns though. That's crazy. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I actually sold some snakes to a reptile store one time. I can't remember what snakes they were, but I had a good relationship with a reptile store that had a bunch of ball pythons. I sold him some ball pythons when I had tons and tons of hatchlings, and he was asking if I had any like bamboo combos or something like that, and I sold him some. So that's another idea. Instead of doing the auction, I would take your snakes to a reptile store. I'd be like, hey, give me $50 or $100 or something a piece, you know, something. Because usually what they do is they just double the price and sell it. So you figure half of retail is usually what they'll give you. So let's see. Oh yeah, thanks for influencing me with these beautiful snakes. I had one female when I started watching you. Now I have 17 females. 17 females. Let's do the math. 17. If you get 10 eggs a piece, that's 170 hatchlings. Yeah, it goes from a handful of snakes to 2 handfuls of snakes to hundreds and hundreds of snakes. It can explode really quick. So it can kind of get away from you. It's kind of crazy. So you got to be careful. Yeah, if you end up with like 100 females and then you breed them and then all of a sudden you have like 1,000 snakes. Yeah, it can get a little overwhelming. I got a twin female leopard enchi blackhead het albino het clown het pied for $30. Wow, $30. That's unbelievable. Identical twin sister owns her twin sister. So look at the snake coming out a little bit. Maybe you can see a little bit of a kink in his neck. Poor little guy. He's starting to come out of his shell. He's like, what's going on? Never been around a neck before. That's interesting. So they're like identical twins with the same genes. That's fascinating. Yeah, I always wondered. I've had twins before, but I've never had more than like 1 or 2 genes. I don't think I've had more than 1 gene in a twin. I was always wondering if you had like multiple genes, if it would carry over in the twin. So that's pretty fascinating. It'd be interesting to see if there's twins where you don't have the same gene in both twins, all the same genes, or it'd be different genes. I don't know if that can happen or not. I would imagine that you'd always have like identical twins. I should look into that. Mystic Muffin Morph says, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you very much. Let's see, we have 54 in the chat. Going for 1 hour and 23 minutes. Let's see. YouTube does delete messages. What is going on? Why does YouTube delete messages? I told them not to moderate. Don't moderate. Yeah, it's kind of weird because I haven't had any negative comments since I started posting. And usually you get some really bad comments when you're posting. Maybe they filter them out. It can get really discouraging, I'd say, especially for a new YouTuber that's not used to kind of the bell curve where you get, you know, some people that absolutely love you and some people that absolutely hate you. And then most of the people are just in the middle where they'll, you know, they like you. They like you for the most part. Some people like you more than others. But, you know, you always get those outliers on the extreme ends where you get some people who just... I had one person who was leaving bad comments all the time. This was like 5 years ago. Always leaving bad comments over and over and over. And he's like, I just feel like It's my duty as a viewer to leave bad comments. It's like, that is the worst thing I ever heard. And then I kind of felt better because I was like, oh, that's why he's doing it. It was just kind of weird. But I haven't seen any. I think YouTube's filtering them out, which is weird. Yeah, it's weird why those words, though, like if I say that word, my message just disappears. Yeah, what word is it? So maybe break up the word with some stars or something. Put some stars between the letters and see if you can break it up a little bit. Appalachian Exotics, what's up? It's nice here on StreamYard because I can actually see your picture. I can see your picture. That's pretty cool. I couldn't really see it on YouTube that good. Hey Chris, sorry I'm late. What kind of vision do you have for the bamboo gene in today's genetic market? So yeah, right now I'm just kind of going for the basic stuff with bamboo, trying to work it into more like bananas and coral glows, and I'm breeding the like het pieds, albinos, and clowns, trying to work some of that stuff into the bamboo. You know, I always keep bamboo, and when I get new genes, you know, I'll be working new genes into the bamboo for sure. I like some of the dark bamboo stuff too, like the bamboo blackheads, bamboo GHIs. Those are pretty awesome. I'd like to, of course, the blue-eyed leucistics, like the one around my neck that's kind of freaking out. Hopefully he doesn't pee on me. You know, these are always super popular with the bamboo and the lesser. And I'm wondering, I did DNA testing on this guy. I'm wondering if this is actually lesser or if it's butter, because there's DNA testing that says lesser and butter are different genes. So that's kind of interesting. This guy's like a little necklace. He's not strong enough to choke me out, which is kind of cool. Let's see. I sent you photos. Chris, give me your opinion on the albino. I bought for her my pied project, but if she is a banana, that's a plus. Yeah, so if you had pied with albino, the albino, yeah, so that may be kind of tough. You sometimes with genes like that, the only way to really know for sure is right when they hatch, because if you give someone like an albino banana, you know, usually an albino banana you can see, but if it was like an albino pied banana where it mixes up the pattern, you know, sometimes you'd have to actually look at the hatchlings right when they hatch side by side. I would think the banana would be a different color than your straight albino. So sometimes, you know, if you're just picking up a snake and you're not sure what it is, sometimes, yeah, it's kind of tough. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm done commenting. That is unfortunate. Puzzle is one of the biggest upcoming genes founded by Sean Bradley. My favorite project. Yeah, I try not to. So you notice in my videos, I try to avoid giving people credit for a gene because I've seen people, you know, fighting tooth and nail over, you know, who actually found it. You know, the guy that, you know, that was, you know, in Africa, picking it up off the ground. He's the one who really found it, and then he sells it to someone else and sells it to someone else, and then people don't really know what they have, and then they sell it to someone else, and then, you know, the final person proves it out, and then the guy who gave it to him was like, hey, that's my discovery. That's my snake. It's like, you know, I've sold dinkers, but I've never proved them out, and if someone else discovers it, whose really is it? And yeah, it can get into some bad blood. So I try not to, you know, like call people out, such and such discovered such and such a gene, because I don't want to get in the middle of anything. I was like, someone else can do a YouTube channel, going through all the genes, giving people credit. So I try not to stir up any trouble there. Let's see. I'm breeding my female bamboo to make banana bamboo clowns. Yeah, that's my hope one day, is the banana bamboo clown. So, and the banana bamboo pied. Banana bamboo, albino banana bamboo. I can make a whole bunch of stuff. All right, thank you for your knowledge that you share. It's helped me in my journey of breeding. Love clown morphs. Be making my own. Nice. That is Greg. All right, I think it's weird. YouTube thinks it's spam. It's automatically deleted. Yeah, you just have to choose your words a little bit different. Yeah, and I'm wondering if this is like the top chat or the live chat over here on StreamYard. So I am like 100% in StreamYard. When's my next reptile show? Yeah, right now, not really planning on doing any shows. Matter of fact, I was invited to, I think it was called Show Me Reptiles. I don't know if it was the show coordinator, and I don't know if she was like inviting me to come for free with my snakes. She's like, "Hey, come to the show. We want you to be there with your snakes." And I don't have display cases that are big enough for all my snakes because they're all like 3 years old. So I mean, this is like the smallest one I have right here, and it's pretty big. I think maybe I don't think it could fit in my display case. It's like way too long. You know, this is a pretty big snake. And the problem with this one is it's been such a picky eater, really super picky. I think it's because of the kink in the neck, actually. It just hasn't been eating that much. Maybe it hurts to eat. I don't know. So it just has a small little kink. So, but most of my snakes are really big, and I don't really have display cases. I don't want to buy display cases because I'll probably won't use them. So, and then this year I'm spreading out my breedings to kind of breed over like multiple months, like 3 or 4 months. So I'll get like eggs stretched out. So I won't really have like a whole batch of hatchlings that I can bring to a show and fill a whole display case. But I'm thinking about buying some more snakes at some point with some different genes, maybe some smaller females, maybe some bigger bigger females that are closer to breed, and then some smaller males, and then maybe in a year start cranking out some different stuff and really produce a lot. So you sold everything? No, I didn't sell everything. I had 60 snakes, and it was just like, you know, some of the stuff that I bought was, you know, I bought it like 7 years ago. I was buying like Coral Glow het pieds were like $1,100, $1,500 for Coral Glow het pieds. I mean, that's where I started. So it was like everything was like super expensive when I bought it back in the day, and now it's just like, you know, I've been producing the same stuff over and over and over. And I decided to just kind of pare it all down and get rid of most of my stuff, except for 9 females, 1 male that has a bamboo calico pinstripe in it, and just breed those for this year. I'm selling all my other stuff except maybe my big retic and Bobby, and maybe this one. I don't know if I want to hold back one of the smaller retics, maybe one of the babies from Lucy. I might hold one back, maybe 2. I don't know. But other than that, I'm just going to empty out all my tubs and completely start over. I'm pretty excited about it. I want to do like some completely different genes. So it'll be kind of refreshing to get into some brand new stuff and fill my racks again with, it's almost like the excitement of starting over again. Being like at square one. It's like, what, you know, going over to Morphmarket and just spending all your time shopping for new stuff. It's like a kid in a candy store. Let's see. That would be a great pet. Yes. What about bamboo axanthic? Now it's kind of interesting because just the straight bamboo almost looks axanthic. I don't know if a bamboo axanthic would look much different than a regular bamboo. I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting to see a bamboo axanthic. I don't know if I've actually looked over on Morphmarket for one. I don't know. Yeah, it'd be interesting. What would be really interesting is you go over to JD Constrictor, look at some of his axanthic stuff, and if you actually mix genes in with axanthic, and then the TSK axanthic, certain lines of TSK along with pastel, and that really brings out the high contrast black and white. So if you actually took like TSK axanthic, bamboo, pastel, or super pastel, I bet that would look crazy. If you could make like a bamboo pattern with like a really intense black and white, like a bumblebee, That would be crazy. I don't know if anyone's ever actually tried it, but I bet you could actually do it. Let's see. Let's see. I bet it's awesome because clown axanthic is amazing in itself, but adds more genes. Yeah, it depends on the line of axanthic too. There's a lot of different lines of axanthic. Have I had any eggs with 2 babies and 1 egg? Yes. When it comes to ball pythons, I've had very few with ball pythons. I think I've only had them with my albinos, and usually one's dead or both of them are dead. I'm cutting eggs and they're like partially develop and they die. Sometimes they like get wrapped around each other before they hatch, and I think they like strangle each other's umbilical cords or something when they get wrapped up. But on my retics, I had a bunch of twins. They were all perfectly fine. I think I had maybe 7 sets of twins on my retics, which was pretty amazing. Because I had I think I had like 60 eggs or something like that, and like 44 hatched or something like that. I can't remember. But out of the 44, I think I got over 50 hatchlings because I had so many twins. As a matter of fact, I marked twins on some of my retics, so I still have 13 retics left. Got one posted on Morphmarket. I think I had like 6 messages on that retic. Still hasn't sold, which is kind of crazy. It's weird because you'll post a snake over on Morphmarket and it'll sit there like for a whole week, and then all of a sudden in the same hour on the same day, you get like multiple people all wanting the same snake. It's like, what's going on? I don't know if they saw someone's video or something, and they all got redirected over to that particular snake on Morphmarket. It's kind of interesting. My biggest score at a recent expo was a spot nose fire red stripe double het hypo ultra male 50% desert cost. $100. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that's really crazy. Yeah, those prices can't get much lower for $100. People are giving snakes away, man. That's crazy. Yeah, yeah, it's weird. It depends on the breeder too. I think a lot of new breeders, I think they compete on the prices. I think that's what it is. So for example, if I'm selling like a spot nose clown for like $300, then a new person looks at that and they're like, oh, I have to beat his price. I'm selling it for $250. And then another person sees it, oh, I want to beat his price. I'm gonna sell it for $200. And pretty soon you're down to like $100. And I think it's not good for the market to keep competing with price like that. I think what you should do, as a matter of fact, when I used to sell snakes, I'd look on Morphmarket and I'd match the highest price. So I'd look at like bamboos and I'd sell them at the highest price, and they would sell for the highest price. And then if they didn't sell, for like a couple months or something like that, then I'd mark them down. But when I first started posting, I would always go with the highest price. And that's how you keep the ball python industry alive. You don't want to like keep undercutting everybody, and you get down to where it's $100 for any snake. And you go to some big breeders, they never mark their ball pythons down this low. There's no way. It's crazy. All right, let's see. Curious about these 3 years away. Did you go back to a day job? I remember your story long ago about going full-time snakes to YouTube. Yeah, I went back to a day job. It was weird. It was just one day I was doing YouTube videos, and one day I was like, you know what? I'm a chemist by training, so I was like, I'm just gonna see what the job market's like just once. Just take a peek. And I found this job that was like a mirror image of my resume, and it was paying a lot of money, more than I had ever made. And I was like, I'm just gonna apply. It was like the first job I looked at, and it was like too good to be true, and I applied. And they called me right back and they said, we want to hire you. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going back to a day job. So that's kind of the story of I went back to the day job. So yeah, and then it was just the problem was is when I went back to the day job, I had so much going on because I decided I was going to do the YouTube thing and ball pythons, and my problem is I started doing a whole bunch of other stuff on the side. So I had like 13 cows and a flock of 50 chickens and ducks, and I had rats and mice and a fish tank, and I was doing all these different things, just too many animals, and I had like 100 snakes, and trying to do that, working 12-hour days and do YouTube. There's like no way. There's like no way. So yeah, I couldn't do YouTube at all. And then over the next couple years, I slowly downsized all my animals. It took me a while working that kind of a job to trim everything down to where had almost nothing left. Just one dog now. I had 4 dogs back then, 4 big dogs, and 3 of them died. 2 died of cancer. One of them died from a twisted stomach. They just kind of died of old age. Just got one left. One of the puppies, Cobra. Still have Cobra. If you remember Cobra from the day. So that's kind of the story of yeah, it was just too much. So now I'm going to kind of stay downsized no matter what happens. Even if I went back to a day job, if I'm downsized enough, I can still do YouTube, even live streams, and then on the weekends maybe do a long form video. But yeah, it was just too much at the time. I had to take a break from YouTube. I was overwhelmed when I went back to that day job. I was overwhelmed with all the animals. Overwhelmed. Do I still have the phone? I'm not sure what phone you're talking about. The phone. Not sure about that one. Chris, are you going to get Angolan pythons and breed them with Bobby and make the angry ball? I always thought it'd be interesting if you could actually make a ball python hybrid with another species and make it, because a lot of times they're not fertile and they won't produce. So I'm not sure if like the angry ball will actually produce. But it'd be interesting if you could cross it with another species, have a fertile cross, and then bring some of the ball python genes over to that hybrid and kind of start a whole new kind of a hybrid ball python market where you could start with you'd have to make sure like everything was like a 50-50 hybrid or something like that. That'd be the problem too, is you start breeding different percentages of hybrids. Like this would be like 90% ball python and 10% some other species. It might be a little bit difficult when you get into it because the care really depends on what the species is too, and if you start mixing them up. But I thought it would be interesting if you could bring other genes into another species kind of as a hybrid, and then start a whole nother market like ball pythons, which would be pretty wild. Let's see, I want to stay small, so my pairings stay between 10 or 20 a year. Next year I plan on breeding 10 females. So yeah, so 20, that'd be like, yeah, that's kind of where I stayed. Well, I guess I was breeding maybe 15 to 17 females, and I would get about 100 to 130 eggs every year. So sometimes they wouldn't lay, sometimes you get small clutches, sometimes you get a lot of slugs. So you don't always get that much. I think my average, I had a whole spreadsheet on it. I think my average was like 8 eggs per female on average. Some of my females actually laid like 15 eggs. I think it was like 14 or 15 with my biggest clutches. But on average, I think I was getting about 8 eggs per female. So depends on how big your females are, and if you have some big ones, they can lay a lot of eggs. Balls or retics? Mostly balls with a retic to eat all the leftovers. That's my strategy. That is my strategy. Hey, Reptiles, seen your message. Another one. Another one. Yes, I am posting another one here on StreamYard. As a matter of fact, this automatically puts kind of a StreamYard coupon code underneath. So I think you can save like $10 off on your StreamYard if you sign up for StreamYard and click the link below, which is kind of interesting and kind of helps my monthly fee too, which is, I think it's pretty expensive. I'm doing a monthly fee. It's like $45 a month, which is kind of crazy. See, you should definitely do a show. You would have a line around the door. Yeah, I used to do shows back in the day. And there were so many people around my table that wanted to talk to me. And it's funny, you go to a show and everybody knows me and I don't know anybody. And they're like around my table, and people want to buy my ball pythons, but there's like 3 levels deep of people trying to get to my table. Some people stand there for a long time and they give up trying to actually fight the crowd. It's interesting. I like the one, if you actually go to my YouTube channel where I brought Bobby to the show and I just walked around and met people. I think that's the best way to do it because people recognize you and they, it's more of like a one-on-one interaction versus, having a table and kind of getting mobbed. And then you talk so much, you can't even go to the bathroom. You're just like, someone's got to watch my table. I got to go to the bathroom. So you understand they're all day, like all day. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, shows can get pretty wild. Depends on how many people are at the show too. If it's a smaller show, it's more personal. So it depends on the show. All right, Mystic Mountain Morph says, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. 54 people on the live. We've been going for an hour 46. Doing the marathon. Let's see. Blumpkin, what's up? Where was I born and raised? I was born in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. I grew up in Fredonia, Wisconsin. Tiny little town. Maybe about an hour from the Great Lakes, down at the bottom of the Great Lakes over there. That was interesting. I was there till I didn't really get to see much of anything in Wisconsin because we left when I was like 13 or 14, so I wasn't even driving yet. And then we left, and then we went to New Hampshire, and then I came to Colorado, and then I went in the military and went to Fort Campbell, went to Fort Benning, Georgia for boot camp, and then I went to Fort Campbell, and then I went to Korea for a year, and then came back to Fort Campbell, then I came back to Colorado, then I went to Wisconsin again to move in with my mom because she separated from my dad, then I moved back with my dad in Colorado, and then just decided to stay in Colorado. But my grandparents were actually from Pueblo, Colorado, so I kind of claim Colorado is my home, I guess you'd say. Kind of moved all over the place, but yeah, I'll claim Colorado. And I'm up here in the mountains of Colorado. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. It's just so beautiful up here. I'm up here at about 9,000 feet up here in the mountains of Colorado. In a tiny little town on the edge of civilization. There's like, I'm on a dead end in the middle of nowhere with the elk and the deer and the mountain lions and the bears and the turkeys and the wolves and all the stuff. All the raccoons. We have all kinds of stuff up here. It's crazy. And every time I go out to feed the dog at night, I go out with the flashlight, and every single night I see eyes in the distance. all different eyes. Sometimes I know it's a deer. Sometimes I know it's a raccoon. Sometimes I know it's a couple mountain lions or a bear. But every single night they are out there. You kind of have to be careful living up here. It's kind of crazy. All right, replying to your comment on my message, you should definitely do an update on the collection. Great idea. Have you seen a berm ball craze? I think they're really neat, and the genetics transfer. Yeah, so I just did a video, basically a whole collection update. I went through all my ball pythons, showed every single one. Basically, most of them were for sale or already sold. And then I didn't show any retics. I didn't show any retics on that one. It was all my ball pythons. So basically, all my retics are exactly the same. They have the same genes. So it didn't really make any sense to show 14 of the same snake. So, and then I sold one. So now I'm down to 13. Got that one posted over on Morphmarket. I'm just kind of slowly trickling the retics out on Morphmarket. Don't really want to flood the market with all the same retics because then you get wholesalers kind of bugging you. Hey, will you sell all 13 retics for $100 a piece or something like that? It's like, I don't think so. I'll just keep them for that. So that's kind of why I haven't posted them all over there. Got pics for anyone that wants them. Nice. Yeah, I get a lot of people sending me pictures over on Morphmarket. Hey, can you identify my snakes? And sometimes they send them an email and just kind of show me what they produce, which is pretty cool. The identification's kind of tough though when people send me snakes to ID. Usually if they have to have someone else ID them, it's a hard ID. It's hard in the first place. Little Mr. Crooked Neck is so cute. Yeah, this one does have a name. I even forgot the name. This one's name is Cypher. Cypher, the white snake. Cypher. This is the first time he's been on live stream. Little worm, little white worm. Pretty cool snake. Chris is the Walter White of the snake world. I guess I am. Cobra is still around. Yeah. Cobra. I actually have I have videos over on YouTube. Some of my first videos. It was weird because when I first started YouTube, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I saw this. I got inspired by PewDiePie. I was like, I can't believe people can make this much money on YouTube. And then I saw this. This I can't remember what it was. It was a channel about kids' toys, and it was this young kid. He must have been like 10 years old, doing toy reviews, just ridiculous little plastic toys. And every day he'd pick up a toy and he'd be like, I hate this toy, and he'd throw it against the wall. And you actually go over to Social Blade, and he was making millions. This 10-year-old kid, I could not believe it. I was like, I want to start doing YouTube. Of course, I haven't made millions after all these years. I don't even think I've made enough to actually make a living over on YouTube. But that's kind of how I started. And then I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do everything. I want to do a video a day and just kind of crank out a video. And some of my earlier videos were interesting because it was just like different aspects of my life with my cows and my dogs. And on one of those, I actually had my female dog giving birth to a litter of puppies. And one of those puppies is actually Cobra, is one of my dogs that I still have. So he's probably, I don't know, that was like 7 years ago when I made that video, I guess. But it was so fun to have a big, huge litter of all these cute little puppies running around. It was a lot of work, though. It was a lot of work. If I was retired, I'd probably have another litter of dogs. It was so much fun. All right, what do I think about albino het-pied Burmese python? I know nothing about Burmese. I do know they are kind of like a retic that's really mellow. I handled, what was that, the name of the guy that does Burmese pythons? I can't remember the name of his channel. But he only sold Burmese pythons and only raised Burmese pythons. You actually go to the show and he'd have all these Burmese pythons. And he had one that was huge. It was a little bit, I think it might have been the same size as Lucy. Lucy was a little bit longer. So the Burmese doesn't go quite as long as a retic, but it still grows really super thick and heavy. And it must have weighed probably 60 pounds in that video. And he let me hold it by myself because I was used to holding Lucy, which is a really big snake. So that was pretty much my only experience with the big Burmese. Let's see. So glad to see you, Bobby, and the crew back. Yes, we are back. Let's see. I got a female. I'm about to give up on breeding. Super pastel anti-het pied. 2 years of breeding, no eggs. Seen locks each year. Interesting. Let's see. What advice can I give you? Maybe maybe pair up longer. Pair up longer. Maybe like keep that male in for a week at a time, and then do like well, it depends how active the male is. How many females you're pairing up with that male. But you can get locks, but if that female's not ready, it depends on how far along the follicles are to where they actually get fertilized. So I would maybe, you know, pair up, you know, every week for like maybe 5 or 6 weeks. Keep pairing up a lot, you know, just keep going back to that female. Some people, I think they stop breeding their males and females a little bit too early, or don't keep the male in long enough. Sometimes you get stubborn females. Make sure your male is a male and your female is a female. I actually did that one year when I was breeding my female to a female and I got no eggs. I was like, wait, what's going on? So maybe do yeah. Sometimes the probe can be a little tricky. You know, I actually probe the snakes, and sometimes the probe goes way in and you know it's a male. Sometimes it goes in a little bit and you know it's a female. But sometimes it goes like in between and you're not sure. Some people pop the hemipines, but I always feel like it's not good for the snake to pop hemipines, and a lot of vets don't recommend doing it. And now that they have the DNA testing, you can actually get the gender determination over there. It's not that much. So maybe do gender determination if you have a question about your males and your females, especially if they never laid eggs or have never bred with a female. Some of the new ones. All right, Arios, what's up? I'm getting an adult orange dream yellow belly clown female who's been on live feedings. Ooh. Depends how old it is. How do you get it switched to frozen thawed? So if it's an adult, yeah. Yeah, so I usually stay away from live only adults actually, because it can be kind of tricky. One thing you can try is feed like a smaller live rat, one that's kind of like a weaned rat, something that won't bite the snake. Sometimes if you get a small enough rat, it's safer to feed, and maybe do like a live weaned rat. And then what you could do is try to follow it up with the frozen thawed, but something better is if you get like a medium rat, if they're used to like medium rats or small rats. What you can actually do is euthanize it with CO2 or something like that. That's how I euthanized all my rats, with CO2. It's kind of the easiest way to do it. But a lot of times, if you have a live only feeder, they will take a freshly euthanized rodent, because it's basically the same thing. It's just not moving. So if you actually fed a live that's not dangerous, like a smaller one, and then immediately follow up in the same day, like maybe, I don't know, like half an hour, 45 minutes later with a freshly euthanized, like a small rat or a medium rat. Sometimes that's a good way to slowly transition over to the frozen thawed, because the frozen thawed, it's not the right temperature. They're not fuzzy. They're they're a lot different than a live rat. So, and sometimes I've heard some people say you can never transition a live only to a frozen thawed. But I had a live only that I transitioned over. So it is possible in a lot of cases, I would say. So yeah, 2,100 grams. Yeah, so yeah. Let's see. How does your wife feel about the snake breeding? What's up, Adam Tesh? My wife does not come in the snake room. Let me tell you. Unless we have company and they're coming in. It's interesting because we'll have family over, and she'll help me. She's helped me before at reptile shows. She's actually taken snakes out of the display cases and handed them to people. She's helped me with Lucy to bring them upstairs and throw her in the bathtub. So she does something. She usually takes the tail end. She won't take the head end usually. So, but she usually stays out of the snake room. Some of our family members are terrified of snakes. Some won't come in the house. Some will stand at the corner of the door to the reptile room and just peek around the corner. And someone will come in and just handle the snakes, no problem. So, yeah, we get all kinds of different degrees of fear coming down here. Yeah, it's interesting. Do I still have Zeus, my giant female? Zeus is the no, I do not have Zeus. Zeus is gone. I sold Zeus's, yeah. I sold her quite a long time. I think I sold her like maybe a year or two ago. It's quite a long time ago. All right. Where do I get my shipping boxes? I get my shipping boxes at Morphmarket. Over on Morphmarket. Because Morphmarket wants you to use their boxes. And it's interesting because they keep updating their boxes. And they keep getting better and better. I just realized on these last boxes, on the inside flap, they actually have, on both sides of the inside flap that gets covered up by the other two flaps, they have the temperature guidelines on the flaps, which is pretty cool. And they keep adding more and more text to the box and this side up and a whole bunch of stuff that they keep improving their boxes. And they even say if you have boxes from another manufacturer, you can trade in boxes for their boxes. And they provide the cheapest shipping that I've seen. I actually used to ship with another company. I went back to Morphmarket because it's the cheapest shipping. They want you to use their boxes. So shipping is pretty cheap. I actually shipped a snake from Colorado to New York. That was pretty expensive. I think I lost all my profits on that one, shipping all the way to New York. But usually it's not that bad if you're shipping, just a few states away. It's not that bad. Let's see. Dang, is that all it takes? Tossing toys at the wall? Yeah, so the interesting thing about that is, I've been doing YouTube for like 17 years, but I started really posting like 8 years ago. So I have like 1,400 videos, something like that. And along the way, they've changed the rules over and over and over. And one of the big rules that they made is with kids, because they had a lawsuit where they were trying to sell products to kids under age 14, which was against the law. And they paid like billions of dollars. YouTube paid billions of dollars. And then they came after the creators. So if you actually make a YouTube video with a child under 14 years old, even just shown in the background, you have to mark it as a kids channel. Otherwise, you can get fined like $10,000 a video, which is crazy. And essentially what they did is if you had a kids channel, they marked them all as kids channel. They deleted the comments. They wouldn't promote those channels. And all those channels that were making millions basically went bankrupt because they had whole teams of camera crews and editors and all this. And they couldn't afford to pay all the people. And all the kids' channels basically just shut down. And they started over with a different topic with a different channel. And they don't make kids videos anymore. which is kind of crazy. So yeah, don't make kids don't make kids videos. And if you do, be careful, and you can mark them as kids videos. But yeah, it's a big lawsuit, and you probably don't want to get involved in that. Yeah, I was talking about Ryan's World. That's what it was. Ryan's World, the big toy review channel. I don't even know if it exists anymore. But yeah, since they had the lawsuit, that's pretty much shut them all down. Funny, I'm from Wisconsin, Madison area. Yeah, so I think I did live in Madison. I think I was born in Beaver Dam, and then I moved to Madison for a short time when I was a little baby. I don't remember anything at all. And then I moved to Fredonia. So that's what my mom tells me anyways. So I'll claim it. I was in Madison probably as a toddler. That was Snakes and Tanks, huh? Really loving colubrids. Nice. Yeah. Colubrids are awesome. Yeah, if I just had one snake, I don't know. Maybe it would be a colubrid. Maybe if I could have two snakes, it'd be Bobby and maybe a big black and white king snake. I kind of miss my big king snake. I kind of have a funny story about that. Is I was into buying colubrids, and I had that big king snake, and then I bought some thinner black and white. It was red and white. I think it was red and yellow and white king snakes. They're like I think they were like California king snakes. And then I bought another black and white king snake, but it was like really super skinny, like as skinny as a pencil. And I decided to try to put it in one of these ARS caging racks in a ARS 70 tub. And that snake got out, and it got lost in the house. And who knows where that snake is? We have a snake that's been lost in the house for, I don't know, 8 years. And, people always hear that story, and they hear, there's a snake loose in the house. And even if they have a little fear of snakes, they're not coming over with a lost snake in the house. And it was only like the size of a shoe. I'm sure it probably didn't make it. I don't think it could survive around here unless I don't even think it could survive up here in the mountains because it gets so cold. There's like no snakes up here because it's too cold for snakes up here in the mountains. Let's see, I was painting once a month, pairing once a month, but I pair each week. Not many sense. Yeah, so yeah, I started pairing once a month. I don't think that's enough. I think the longer you can pair, I would say you want to pair at least 3 or 4 days at a time. I don't know if it's good to pair more than 3 or 4 days. I think it's good to give them a break and to give them some feedings. But I would say 3 or 4 days and at least 3 different times for 3 or 4 days is what I would suggest. Maybe 4 times if you can do it. It depends how many females you have, because by the time you kind of cycle your male through all your females 3 days at a time, 3 or 4 times, you're pretty much out of time for the pairing season, and then it's the egg laying season, kind of what you're getting into then. Now typo. Let's see. Kyle Jones just joined in. Sorry if it's already been asked. What projects are you investing into this year? Not sure. I am probably going to buy 2 snakes, a male and a female. Probably want at least 5 genes in each. Maybe 5 visuals with some hets. So maybe 6 or 7 genes total. I'm thinking about maybe asphalt in one and yellow belly in the other to make some crazy highways and freeways with a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know. It's kind of hard to find snakes like that with a lot of genes, but looking for some dark genes and some light genes. I'm trying to make some, 10, 12, 15 gene offspring that you need. Pretty much you need DNA testing on all the snakes. That's kind of what I'm going for, is what a lot of people aren't doing, is making really crazy snakes like that where, you know, you really can't tell what they are, and there's just so many combinations possible that you could just breed the same pair of snakes for 20 years and keep cranking out new stuff, which is kind of what I'm going for. Well, this little white worm here, he's doing pretty good. He's kind of chilling out. I think he's got getting a little squirrely here, but he's just kind of doing the bobby chill for a little bit. See if I can keep him around my neck. Let's see. Plus, I don't have to worry about him getting bit all the time. I think I aged 10 years in those 3 years he was on live food. Yeah. Yeah. So feeding live. Yeah. I fed live for a bit. And as a matter of fact, I had a white snake just like this one. All white. I think it was my lesser pied, and I fed live, and that rat took a big bite out of my snake, put a big gash in him, and I decided then I am not feeding live again. And people are saying, you know, their snakes were losing eyes from the rat and all this. I was like, you know, there's no way. That's when I decided, you know, you can kind of supervise when you're feeding live, but the problem is when a ball python grabs a rat and then kind of balls up around it and the rat is inside, you really can't tell what the rat's doing to the snake inside that ball. So I decided that at that point, after I had one of my beautiful white snakes get a big old red gash in the side of the snake, I decided I'm not feeding live anymore. So I know a lot of people do it, and if you ask me, ball pythons want live. You know, that's like the number one thing that they actually want. They don't want to be fed. They want to hunt. And that's why people do live, is because, you know, they can grow them up faster, grow them up bigger, produce more offspring, move projects along faster. That's why a lot of big breeders do live, I think. But I don't know if it's safe for the snake to do live. It's a little bit crazy. And then they get stuck on live, and it's hard to get them off alive. Let's see. I'm an adult and I like my toys. I don't know. Maybe you could do a toy channel as an adult. You could probably do it. I think you could do it. I don't know. It's YouTube is it's so risky. It's very risky. You know, I've seen people. I saw. You know, you get your channel demonetized. The problem is if you get on YouTube. Here's the problem with YouTube is I've seen people get on YouTube, they find this weird niche, they start making tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, and then all of a sudden YouTube comes out and says, well, we decided you can't make videos like that anymore. And sometimes you get demonetized. Sometimes YouTube wants all the money back that you made on YouTube. Financial ruin. I've seen that before, which is absolutely crazy. And it seems like the easier it is to make money on YouTube, the easier it is to get in trouble. Like all the AI videos. I was thinking about that. I was like, man, I could make an AI channel and, you know, just, you know, kind of a separate channel and have like an avatar and, you know, put out 100 videos a day and just crank it out. And you can actually go over to Gemini. How do I make an AI channel and crank out 100 videos a day and get it monetized? And now they're cracking down in it. They're deleting channels and demonetizing channels. And I don't know if they're wanting people's money back. But yeah, it's, you know, the easy way to YouTube, you know, for a while, a lot of people are doing live feedings every single time. Then YouTube started deleting the videos, demonetizing. And I saw one person where they wanted the money back. And essentially what they do is, the future money that you make, they subtract it from the money you owe. So basically you're not making any money now from your monetized channel, which is crazy. So yeah, welcome to YouTube. Let's see. Do you know Mike Powell today? Hardwick and the Herbie Freer. Never heard of it. Nope, never heard of it. I had a mountain king snake. Nice. Yeah, when I was growing up, actually, king snakes weren't my first snake. Now that I think of it, I was about, I was in Fredonia. I was maybe 10 years old. I was catching, maybe even earlier than that. I was maybe 8 years old catching my first snakes. And we caught garter snakes. And it was interesting because, you know, the wild garter snakes, they would be like really crazy and they'd bite you and just go crazy. And if you held them for like 20 minutes, half an hour, they would like tame down and they would be like pets, which is really crazy. And people didn't realize you could tame them down so easy. And I got bit so many times. I actually have pictures with, I was like my arm around my buddy at the time. I had a big, huge garter snake in my hand. I must have been like 8 years old or something. Blood dripping down my arm from getting bit from that thing and taming it down. And I was so proud of that. That was like the biggest one I ever found, a big old garter snake. So yeah, I was into snakes at an early age. We had no venomous snakes that I knew of. Of course, I was just a kid, but my mom used to let me catch snakes, and I could keep them. I think she let me keep them for like 2 days or something like that, and then I had to let them go. But there was like an unlimited amount of snakes in Wisconsin. It was pretty crazy. All right, let's see. Smiley face. I was thinking about getting a king snake. Do it. If you got room for another pet snake, I would do it. I had a really nice plexiglass. It was like a plexiglass enclosure that was really fancy. I got it over on Craigslist. No, I know where I got that. I actually got it with my retic. When I got my retic, he gave it to me for free. And I never put my retic in there because he kind of freaked out in a clear enclosure. And I used it for my king snake, and my king snake loved it. And then brought my king snake to a show and then enclosure, and someone bought the snake and the enclosure. That's how I got rid of it. But that was a pretty awesome snake, king snakes. Yeah, just as a pet, that would be awesome. Shot blocker. Just got an SOD Ultra Cryptic. Number 8 on the team. Nice. So I assume SOD is Super Orange Dream. Never seen it written quite like that. Super Orange Dream. Ultra. That must be Ultramel. Cryptic. Ultra Cryptic. So if you have a cryptic male, you can breed it to a clown and make all kryptons. Krypton is a visual. Het cryptic and het clown kryptons. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. I think I might have cryptic kryptons, cryptic, het cryptics, I guess you would call it, kind of floating around here in my collection. Het cryptics. I made something that I thought was a desert ghost. I don't think it was a desert ghost. I think it was just a random combination of het cryptic and het clown to kind of make a krypton, because it was a really interesting snake and I haven't made it again. So what's my favorite recessive? Good question. I would say probably the puzzle, I would say. Puzzle can make some really crazy stuff. Not a lot of people are working with puzzle. So probably the puzzle. Clown is clown is ubiquitous. There's some really crazy clown stuff, but everybody and their sister is like breeding lots and lots and lots of clowns. I kind of like the stuff out in the fringes clown. Let's see. Monarch's pretty interesting. Not a lot of people working with monarch. That would be an interesting project to get into, like a het monarch. Someone brought that up and I was like, wow, I forgot about monarch. that might be the next big thing, is monarch. Let's see. I breed my females to my males every weekend from November through February. Yeah, every weekend. I would probably pair up at least 3 days. that's probably what I would do. At least 3 days. So 3 days on, the rest of the week off. That'd be good. Every weekend from November to November, December, January. So that's about 4 months. That's about right. Yeah, 1 male to 2 females. Yeah, so yeah, that's good. Yeah, usually it takes 4 months if you have like 1 male to. You could probably do like that's why they say you can't do more than like 4 females, just because of the rotation of the males through the females, because it takes too long, and then pretty soon you're like stretching out your whole breeding season to where you're like trying to breed all your females for 6 months with so many females. But yeah, if you could do, when I was breeding Bobby to all those females, what I would do is I'd do three females. Let's see, I would do 3 days and 1 female, 3 days another female, 3 days another female, and then I would give them a break. That's the way I would actually do it. Back in the day, he was like overworked as a breeder, and he made a lot of hatchlings too. It was crazy. What's up, Dickie Foster? Let's see. Popcorn, yellow stripe, smile. Popcorn, yellow stripe, smile. Popcorn, yellow stripe, smile. Yeah, that's an interesting comment. Shot blocker. Let's see. Adam, I have a male. That's Confusion, Cypress, red stripe, yellow belly, firefly. Wow. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 genes. My females have 3 or 4 genes, so I'm nervous to breed them because of the vast amount of gene possibilities. Should I breed without shed testing? Well, that is a very good question. As a matter of fact, I've been wanting to do this project for so long, and the only thing that kept me from doing it is they didn't have gene testing, which was a problem. And if they did have gene testing, trying to test all the genes in every hatchling, if I produced like 100 hatchlings and tested for all the genes, you're talking about a lot of money. I do have should be here at the end of the month here. I should have a coupon code for 25% off the rare genetics. So stay tuned for that. So I'll get 25% off. But as part of my deal with rare genetics, they test all my stuff for free. So that's one of the reasons I'm like, hey man, I'm jumping into this multi-gene, 6 gene times 6 gene. If I could test them all for free, it's kind of a no-brainer. But yeah, it depends on I guess it depends on the price. So if you're producing like 7, 8 gene animals, 10 gene animals, something like that, I would think you could mark them way up. As a matter of fact, I think you could absorb the cost of the gene testing. And if you can't afford to do it all at once, maybe you can just, test 10 snakes. And if it costs, $100 a snake, then you're looking at, $1,000 for testing. But if you mark each snake up $100, sold the snakes, recouped your money, then you could use that extra $1,000 to test the next batch of snakes and kind of just do it that way. It's kind of like the cost of business. So, and I would think if you had like 15, 18 gene animals, I bet you could get some good money for those. There's not that many over on Morphmarket that have that many genes, and usually they sell for, several $1,000s at least for an animal like that. So, people looking for snakes with a lot of genes. When in doubt, genetic test, yes. The hard part is if you have, triple het, quadruple het, normal looking snakes, quadruple het, and then you spend $100 on genetic testing and you can't mark up the price of the snake enough to cover the genetic testing. I think that's when it can be a little bit challenging as a breeder to kind of cover your costs for genetic testing. So I would always have some good genes in there so you can mark it up enough to cover your costs for the testing. And if you sell it as possible hets, yeah, you're losing money there too. Not a lot of people buy possible hets, I'd say. Let's see. We would catch gopher snakes. I am not familiar with gopher snakes. I remember down when I was in Kentucky in the military, we had these really big, long black snakes, jet blacks, shiny black snakes. And we had cottonmouths too. I remember one time when I was in the military, we were out in this training exercise and, you know, we're walking around with all our training gear, and I had the, you know, we drove around in the Jeep, and I was carrying like the M16 with the blinks on, you know, we were playing war games and stuff. And I was out in the middle of the field, you know, we're kind of, you know, trying to capture each other and stuff like that, hide from each other and kind of playing tactical war games. And all of a sudden I was walking around the pitch black night, and all I could see is this little tiny dot in front of me. It was the glowing dot from the back of the guy's helmet in front of me. And all of a sudden I hear this psh, 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 psh. I'm like, what in the world is that? And took out my flashlight and shined it at my feet, and it was this big, huge cottonmouth snake, like trying to bite me. Couldn't even see me to get a bite. And I was so lucky I didn't get bit by that thing. That was super crazy. But yeah, that was, you know, we were so far out in the middle of nowhere. We were like out of radio range, and there was like nobody around. Yeah, just me and this other guy. I probably would have died right there if I'd have got bit. That was crazy. All right, let's see. Nice. Shot blocker, trying to keep the pure cryptic to see if any odd interactions with other morphs. Nice. Give any suggestions on morph to add to the cryptic? Good question. You know what? I don't know if I did a video on the cryptic. Actually, I think I did one on the Krypton. Let me see. Maybe I did cryptic. I don't think I did cryptic. Oh, I did. The new and amazing cryptic 5 years ago. The new and amazing cryptic. All right, so yeah, now it's now we're 5 years in. It's not new and amazing. It's probably been well worked. I should do an update on a lot of these videos, like new cryptic combos or something like that. I don't know if it'd be worth it doing stuff like that, kind of updates to my old videos. I kind of look for new stuff that nobody's done before, and trying to find a new angle on things. I try to find videos that I haven't made before, that no one else has made before, that would be like an informative video that people go, I never knew that, you know, or something that I don't know. Someone says, hey, check this out, or have you heard of this? And I'll say no, and then I'll look into it, and nobody else has made a video on it. That's kind of the stuff that I like. Then I can research for like 8 hours and put something together to where people can, you know, appreciate the content and kind of capture the, you know, add to the, I don't know. I think about my YouTube channel kind of as like a book, and I try to add a new page that's not like the old pages. Every time I add a new video, it's I wanted something new and fresh and informative. That's kind of the goal. It's always hard to do that too, because so much has been done already. All right, let's see. I love breeding ball pythons. Me too. It is so exciting to see what you get. Every year gets better and better. Then maybe I can sell a couple and add a baby bobby. Yeah, there's a waiting list for baby bobbies. Might do some blue-eyed leucistics with some baby bobbies. Yeah, the problem is this might be my only. I have another lesser in my collection. I guess I could make some more. I did hold one lesser. It's got scaleless head. It's a lesser pastel pinstripe calico, I believe, scaleless head that I'm holding back, just because it's really my only lesser to make blue-eyed leucistics, which was one of my most popular snakes, is the all-white snake. Let's see. As a kid, I would catch Florida king snakes. Nice. That would be cool. I wouldn't mind being somewhere where you could catch some wild king snakes. Yeah, I got some friends down in Florida. I go down there once in a while. But the problem is they don't know snakes at all. They're kind of afraid of snakes. And I don't know if I would be confident enough to know a king snake from all the other thousands of snakes in Florida to try to not get bit by something that I don't want to get bit from. So you definitely have to know your snakes. Garter snakes are pretty easy. You'd have to live down there to actually catch the snakes. Let's see. All the gene names sound so fancy. I bet the snakes are absolutely stunning. Do they cost more because they have so many genes? That really depends on the genes, on the combination, what it looks like, what people are looking for. I mean, you could produce a whole table full of snakes and you get the one certain combination that just really pops and looks so much better than all the other snakes. Usually you can mark that up a couple $100 or sometimes a couple $1,000, depending on what genes it is. Sometimes it depends on the rarity of the gene. So a lot of times the new genes coming out, they start really high, like $10,000 or $20,000 just for a single gene animal. And then as more people breed it and it gets more and more popular, people buy it for less and less money and then breed it through their collection, make a whole bunch of them. And then, you kind of expand the supply. So then the price drops and more people start expanding the supply and they kind of compete, trying to beat everyone else's price. And then the price comes down. Sometimes it really depends on the popularity of the gene. I know like Monsoon, I think Monsoon held on for a long time is a really expensive snake just because everyone knew it was really visually dominant, kind of like the Champagne. And anything you mix with Monsoon, you'd end up getting a Monsoon looking snake, kind of like the Champagne. And people are like, do I really want to spend, $10,000 for Monsoon and then make these snakes that, it doesn't really have the variety potential as like the Clown or something like that working with the Monsoon. And I think that's what kept a lot of people out of it. And I think that's what kept the prices really high on the Monsoon, just because a lot of people didn't really get into it. But now all these years later, the Monsoon's coming down quite a bit. So you can actually pick up a Monsoon pretty inexpensive, which is pretty awesome. And then sometimes you get these genes where nobody will really see a difference in the gene and it never really takes off. I've seen some genes kind of pop up and it doesn't matter what you produce with that gene, you don't get anything really impressive. And then sometimes the genes just fade away and they're gone for good. I've seen some, whole tables at NARBC with this brand new gene and nobody buys it. Not a single person buys into the gene and the gene just dies and you don't hear about it at all. It's just like a dead gene, it's kind of interesting to the whole ball python market, the supply and the demand and the new genes kind of coming through all at different paces. It's pretty wild. Need a cryptic update. Yes. Mother Truckin' Reptiles. What's up? Hey, Chris. Hey, everyone. What is up? Beryllium Jesse, Gopher Snake. I cannot say that. Pituophis cantinifer. It's a species of non-venomous colubrid snake endemic to North America. If you show me a picture of a gopher snake, I might recognize it. Look at the snake around my neck. I've never had him around my neck. I think he went to sleep, which is pretty cool. Yeah, down south, we have some really big snakes. I can't remember what kind of snakes they're. They're non-venomous, but they get really huge. It's not a gopher snake. I can't remember what it is. It'll come to me. Hey, Mother Truckin' Reptiles. Hey, PetSmart. MTR. I still have my Bobby baby. She's a sweetheart. Nice. I can't even remember who has one. Yeah, I think I saw yours. I think I was watching one of your videos. And you showed it to me, and it was pretty big, not a baby anymore. Some of those are getting pretty big. Yeah, it's been a while since I sold some of those first Bobby babies. My Bobby baby is the first snake that Chris ever shipped out, was it? It was the first one. Wow. That was, that must have been, what, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. Maybe longer. It is still alive. Nice. Yeah, 10,000. 10,000. Some snakes can go for 10,000. See, we still have 38 people. We've been going for 2 hours and 35 minutes, which is interesting. I want to check something. I was curious to see over here on YouTube if we ever had a super chat. I don't know if we had a super chat. Let's see. I don't know. I was just wondering if the super chats came. I wonder if monetization's turned on. That's the other thing. All right, let's see. Speaking of scary, California mountain king snakes we love catching as kids is super scary looking. If you didn't know better, it looks so much like a coral snake. Yeah, I heard that some snakes can look really close to a coral snake, which is the venomous snake. As a matter of fact, my snakes did look like coral snakes. I had 2 of them, and it was black and red and white. And it was the black on the back is attack or something. I can't remember. There's like some little saying that you could say to figure out if your snake was venomous, the black and the red and the white. But mine were beautiful, beautiful snakes. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, y'all. Mystic Mountain Morphs. Let's see. I just got a leucistic Texas mountain snake and a palmetto corn snake. I want to make hybrids, both leucistic. Interesting. A mountain snake with a corn snake. Huh. Never heard of that. That's interesting. Hey, I got a super sticker. Thank you for the super sticker. All right, I got a super chat. All right, it actually does work over here on StreamYard. Thank you. Awesome. I was like, does this really work? It's weird because like I came over here, I just looked at YouTube and I saw the hearts coming up, and over here you can't see the hearts. I can't see the hearts. I have to go over to I view on YouTube, and then I have to mute my volume over on YouTube, and then I can see the little hearts coming up. So awesome. Thank you, Shot Blocker. Thank you, Beryllium Jesse. Nice, nice, nice. Let's see. I can actually, yes, look at that. I can pop it up. Super sticker. Nice. There's one for you, Beryllium Jesse. Thank you very much. Yeah, 2 hours, 38 minutes. How long do you think we can go? 12 hours, 12 hours. I actually did I don't know if you guys remember, some of you guys might have been around when I was doing it. I did 3 12-hour live streams in a row, 12 hours straight, which was crazy. Kind of the weird thing is I actually went slightly over 12 hours, and then YouTube cut it back. I guess the most you can do is like a 12-hour stream or something like that as far as the recording. I was trying to do a whole week of 12-hour live streams. I did 3 back to back, and I lost my voice. I could not talk for like a whole week. You guys are like, where did you go? You were going to do another 12-hour live stream. And I talked so much 12 hours straight for 3 days, and I couldn't talk at all. It was just like, I lost my voice. My throat has never been the same since those 3 12 hours. It was absolutely crazy. Yeah, we need to test it right. Thank you. We tested it. Yeah. Keep hitting those buttons. Glad to have you back. Want to see you stay around. Thank you. Yes. Very, very cool. Milk snakes look like coral snakes. Yeah, so the milk snake was different than the snake that I had. I think I had I think maybe it was a mountain king snake. Now that I think about it, I think it was a mountain. As a matter of fact, you were talking about a mountain colubrid. I think it was the same thing. Looks just like a coral snake. Beautiful. They don't get very big either. They stay really thin and long. And I had two of them in a glass aquarium. I had a little hide, and then I had some driftwood in there, and they would always hang out on top of each other on the driftwood. It was just absolutely beautiful. And those mountain king snakes in there. But yeah, then I was like, I got too many snakes. I need to. The problem is if you have all these different species of snakes, you can't eat them. So if you get rid of all your snakes and get all ball pythons, then you can breed that python to that python to that python. You can keep mixing it up. Whereas if you just have a pair of king snakes, you only can make more king snakes. You can't really mix it up with your Australian Woma pythons, your green tree pythons, and all that. Our hypo het pied girl just had her pre-lace shed today. We paired her to a pastel orange dream calico double hezard hypo pied. Wow, I can't believe so many genes. That's crazy. Hypo het pied to pastel orange dream calico double het hypo pied. So that's interesting. So you get a lot of cool stuff from that. 2 super chats just showed up. Yeah, so yeah, so the interesting thing is StreamYard's a little bit behind YouTube. So if someone like posts a comment over on YouTube, it takes like, I think like 10 seconds to come over here to StreamYard. Like those super chats, everyone sees the super chats and I'm like, kind of behind the times over here. It's like, takes like 10 seconds. I think it's a 10-second lag between StreamYard and YouTube. Let's see. Snakes and tanks. What's up? Yes, Mystic. Mystic some can with corn and kings that have red and black bands. Yeah, corns and kings. Interesting. Let's see. I haven't seen hognose with that same color. Yeah, hognose. What's up with hognose? How many people have hognose? That was like it was like coming in big time when I was first starting. Everyone was like, the big thing was hognose. Everyone's getting into hognose. Even at the reptile shows, there's lots of hognose. And then here in Colorado, they actually listed them. I think they listed them as a venomous species, and they banned them from the shows. And some shows you couldn't sell hognose because it's they don't really have like fangs and venom, but they have like kind of their saliva is really reactive. Some people are really allergic to their saliva, so they kind of listed them in that venomous species. So a lot of people don't do hognose. And then the skinks. Remember Brian Barczyk with the what were they? I can't even remember what they were. They're like the big lizard. I think they were like some kind of a skink or something like that. And I don't know what happened to some of those reptiles. They just like popped up and they were like crazy all over the shows, and then they just like kind of disappeared. Tricolor, let's see. David, I'm a truck driver. Wow, saw all those live YouTube for free to help me on the road. Yeah, a lot of people are actually talking about that too. They're like, yeah, I've been watching your, listening to your live stream while I'm driving back and forth to work. So here's another one, 2 hours and 44 minutes. That should last you back and forth on one day of work. If anyone is listening on the replay. Same. All right. I wanted a milk snake for a while, but I have so much coming in soon. It's on the back burner. Yeah, especially if you get a lot of ball pythons. It can be addictive. You get so many snakes. It can be really addictive. I remember those 12-hour live YouTube videos and truck driver. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Gopher snakes are also called bull snakes. Yeah, that's what they are down south. Like 3 hours down south, kind of in the prairie down there. Because up here it's in the mountains, and you get down to the foothills, and then after the foothills, if you drive south, it's almost like a desert. It's like a prairie desert with a lot of cactus. And they are really big bull snakes, really huge, really monstrous. As a matter of fact, I went to a reptile show, and someone had a tame bull snake, a pet bull snake, that had some kind of weird gene in it. I can't remember what it was, but it was like a super bright red bull snake. Absolutely beautiful. As a matter of fact, I think I handled it for one of my YouTube shorts. So I was going through all the different vendors, handling all their biggest, most aggressive snakes for all my YouTube shorts. I actually handled, what was it? A blood python. And it was, I thought for sure I was going to get bit. And the guy's like, do you really want to handle this snake? And you come over to it and it would like snap at, it literally would snap at you. And he'd walk up to the snake and he'd take the lid from like a Tupperware, and he put it against the snake's head to actually pick it up, to give it to me. And he's like, you sure you want to pick it up? And then when he gave it to me, it was like peeing all over the place. And I did a little short video with it. But once I picked it up, it was pretty good. So, and I handled it pretty good. But I did not want to get bit by that blood python. Let's see. I want a hognose so bad. They are super cute. Hognoses are very cute. My live feed's interrupted by commercials? Really? That's weird. You know what? I think I can turn that off. I thought, yeah, so when I added commercials, I thought it was to the replay. Let's see. YouTube live ads. None. Save changes. The stream must be scheduled in the future and within 1 year. Please edit the start time. I can't do it. I can't turn them off during the live. All right, good to know. Yeah, we don't want that, because then you're missing half of what I'm saying, right? I didn't think I was going to do that. So this is like just testing the waters with StreamYard. I did not know that it would put commercials in the middle of my live. Okay. Yeah, so I kind of have to go back and forth between the YouTube Studio and StreamYard to add certain things to certain places before it actually starts. Which is weird. Anyway, well, I'm going to have another live tomorrow. I'm going to do another live tomorrow. I'm going to try to rewire my camera a little bit different, and I'll turn off the ads. So I might even actually invite a guest, maybe have someone come on, and we can have more than one person on, which would be kind of interesting. Have multiple people on the stream. I think that'd be kind of interesting. More than one person. I could send out a link and people could join. Maybe we can try that tomorrow, kind of play around with it. Gopher pine bull snakes are in the same genus. Interesting. I remember watching Brian all the time. Yeah. I was hooked with his snake bite videos, and that was interesting when he was first starting, you know, his YouTube adventure with all of his different snakes. Oh, I just binge watched those like over and over and over. It was pretty wild. That's what really got me into it. Bull snakes and gopher snakes. Let's see. Snakes and tanks. My blood pythons are getting big. Hope someday super balls. Yeah, so the Super Ball, I believe that's the hybrid of a blood python and a ball python. And it gets really big, super balls, like a monstrous ball python. Not many of them around except for juggernaut reptiles. Let's see. Maybe that's why my on my live stream, my videos, I noticed on like the live stream replay, and like my video freezes for a second, but my vocals will keep going. Maybe that's the commercials being added in there. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, but those super balls, those are interesting. I don't know if those are fertile or not. Can you breed a super ball to a super ball? And if you had a bamboo super ball, can you breed 2 bamboo super balls to make a blue-eyed leucistic super ball? So many interesting ideas on that front with the hybrids. Oh, you know what? I got multiple tabs open. That's why it's probably freezing. I was like, wait a minute. I got to close some of these tabs. All right, let's see. Mystic, I'm getting a red phase, bull snakes, gophers, and bulls are different though. Red phase bull snakes. Yeah, that's what I saw, the red phase bull snake. Someone brought a pair of them to the show, really big, huge ones. It was some girls brought them to a Colorado Springs show. That's where I remember seeing those snakes. They were close to my table, actually. I had a table back then. Shirley Babeta, what's up? Both Pytrophus. Let's see. I have a female bull snake from John Hannum. That is red and blue. Interesting. I've never seen a red and blue bull snake. You know, maybe I have. kind of like a speckled red and blue. Interesting. Yeah, bull snakes. I've seen some videos with bull snakes, people breeding bull snakes. Now, I don't think there's a lot of genes in the bull snakes, though. Yeah, sometimes in size and color, they do have differences for sure. Hey, Shirley. Red phase is awesome. I've seen some cool looking wild pine snakes and very dark bull snakes. Interesting. Premium's only $7. YouTube does weird things. I've seen a lot of live streams with ads. Yeah, so I'm gonna take them off. I don't, especially if you're like watching an ad instead of actually watching the live. So I'm kind of wondering if it plays an ad, does it pick you up right where you left off? So you're like behind on the live stream and then watching what I already said, like we're at before the ad, and you're like 5 minutes behind everybody else. I don't know how that works. I don't know what's going on. And you're watching a live stream and everybody else is already done when they don't see the ads. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I'm definitely going to take them off tomorrow. I'm not going to have ads tomorrow. Let's see. I also want a hognose, specialty a lavender. Nice. What's your opinion on carpet? I have 17 balls and 1 carpet. I've never had a carpet python. Never had one. Let's see. My favorite bulls are red ones and white and black axanthic looking ones. Nice. Yeah, I get premium YouTube. Is this snake still alive? Are you doing okay? It's like completely motionless. What's going on? I thought I was dead or something. It's just sitting on my shoulder. It's like more chill than Bobby. I'm like, what's going on? This snake's, did I squash your head or something? It's such a tiny snake. Yeah, I have premium YouTube. I never see a single ad. It's cheap. Yeah, and I'm on YouTube all the time, so I pretty much am on Amazon and YouTube 24/7. That's kind of where I hang out. Can I join you if it's Saturday or Sunday? Yes, you can. You can join me whenever you want. Yeah, so normally I'll do, well, it really depends what I have going on Saturday. It seems like earlier in the day is better for more viewers. If I actually look at my YouTube stats, I think most people, during the week, most people are on YouTube like starting at 2 and then ending at like 5 or 6. So I started this one kind of late. I kind of wanted to start about maybe 2 o'clock on a weekday and go to like 5. And today I was out of town. I was down. I had to come down from the mountain. I had to ship out some snakes and get some groceries and get some gas and do a bunch of stuff. So it took me a while to get back home, and then trying to figure out all my YouTube stuff in the short amount of time. Actually, yesterday and last night I was up pretty late trying to figure out, how to set everything up. I keep reconfiguring all my electronics and everything to change things up, and it seems like my lighting's better and got a little bit better quality today. Hopefully tomorrow the camera will be a little bit better, but once I dial it in, yeah, I'm kind of going through the you can go to your YouTube studio and look at the audience, and it tells you when most of your audience is online, like different time slots for every day, and usually from like 2 to 5 or 6 is when most of the people on YouTube are actually, well, my viewers are on YouTube. So if you're thinking about doing a live stream, that's the best time to do it. I did a live stream the other day. It was late at night, and I started at like, I don't know, it was like 9 o'clock or something like that. And you don't get very many people that late at night. So, and I can already tell 8:25 and it's already dropping off. Usually I'll have twice as many viewers during the day. So on Saturday, I have to look. I'll probably do one earlier. Kind of just doing random live streams whenever it fits on my schedule. I don't really have a schedule, but yeah, you can definitely join me. Let's see. I catch them every year, but haven't thought about owning a bull snake. Yeah, it'd be interesting to take a really big wild bull snake and see if you could tame it down. That would be a challenge. Can you tame the big wild snake that has never been handled before? Because I remember catching garter snakes, and it was always the big ones that would bite you the hardest and take the longest to tame down. But who knows? I bet after you took a few bites and proved that you weren't afraid of it, that you could tame it down. Let's see. Don Chris, I haven't tuned in to watch you for years, and the one time I do after all this time, you do a live. I hate live chats. Yeah, I was doing daily videos, long form videos for the last few weeks. I was doing, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks in a row. I can't remember, but I put out quite a few videos. And then, every time I do live, I was doing, this time I'm doing like a long form video Monday through Friday. And then Saturday, as I was doing a live, and then Sunday I would take the day off. But the problem is every time I do a live, I was struggling with all my equipment. I just didn't have enough time to figure out how to get a really good live with all the the comments on the screen and where I'd look good and the mic and everything where I sounded good. And so I just decided this week I'm just doing all lives the whole week, and I'm going to work on improving my lives. So when I get everything set up, on a Saturday, I'll make a better live than I was, because you look back at my lives, I was tired of making bad live streams. So that's kind of the thing. And then now that I've upgraded to StreamYard, I can invite people, and it's kind of cool. Kind of see what people want to talk about too. I get a lot of video ideas during the live, just kind of once a week. People say, hey, why don't you do a video on this or that or whatever, and it's pretty nice. Let's see. Simmer snakes is the girls with the bulls. Summer snakes. Hate's a strong word. Some people hate lives. Yeah, that's, when I start doing lives, my views go way down, believe it or not. Yeah. And my revenue. It's not good to do lives all the time. Some people do lives all the time. It's not good. People just want short, fast. I want to learn something new. I want to see a high production video. And that's usually what YouTube promotes. They really don't promote lives that much. So live is kind of like just connecting with the community, hearing what people want to say, what they're interested in. I get a lot of, information. I get a lot of knowledge from the lives, and share a lot of stuff too. A lot of times, new people coming in, they have questions they're maybe afraid to ask. Simple question like, "What is a het?" Something like that, and they can ask it on a live, and it's not like permanently on a video somewhere posted in the comments. So yeah, so live is good, I think, for a limited amount. Maybe once a week doing live. There's a lot of morphs now in bulls. Yeah, I'd like to see how many morphs they have. It's been I haven't really looked into bull snakes to see how many morphs are. So as a matter of fact, if you go to Morphmarket, I don't know if they have. Well, I'm kind of curious now. I'm going to go over to Morphmarket. Let's see. Let's see if they even have bull snakes. Burmese. King snakes, milk snakes, rat snakes. They do have bull snakes. I can actually bring you over there with me if you want. I think I can share the screen with 2 monitors. I think. Let me see if I remember how to do this. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. All right. So I'm over on Morphmarket. And here is the homepage with all the categories, and we have bull snakes. I think we can come over here to traits. So here you go. These are all the bull snake traits. Axanthic, hypo, normal, white-sided, dwarf, hypo, patternless, yellow bull, albino, erythristic, kankanki, tiger, zipper. They have a tiger and a zipper, white-sided, Montana, erythris, and axanthic. So, yeah, that is interesting. Very interesting. So not a whole lot over on bull snakes. Let's see, where was I? Oh my goodness, I lost my comment now. Yeah, I got distracted. It unmarked where I was because I took off the, let's see. I think it was this one. A lot of morphs and bulls. That's where we were. All right. How much would you say a super vanilla head clown costs? Yeah, don't ask me about prices. I could have told you 5 years ago exactly how much that snake would cost. When a banana het pied was $1,100. Now, who knows? Who knows? And it's interesting now. It seems like a lot of the prices are all over the place because you can find like, super vanilla het clown, and you can find them at the low end of the range, and you can find them at the high end of the range, and it's a much bigger range than it used to be. It used to be, clowns and pieds were $300 minimum. You would never sell a clown or a pied for less than 300. That was like kind of the baseline with just the single. Well, it's got 2 genes, but it would just be for the visual recessives for clowns and pieds. So yeah, now now everything's changed. People are selling, especially with the auctions. That's crazy. Personally, I don't think the auctions were a good thing because people are like practically giving snakes away over in the auctions. Yeah, I don't know. You can pick up some cheap snakes, but I don't think it's really good for the industry. Yeah, you missed what I say during the ads. Oh no. That's not good. I'll definitely turn off the ads. On my mobile, it played the ad below your video. Wow, both were playing at the same time. But only the ad audio can be heard. You were silenced. Oh no. That's not good. That's not good. Video keeps going while the ad's playing. Wow. That's unbelievable. Yeah, collaboration. So I actually upgraded to the mid version of StreamYard, and I can have 10 people at the same time. The way I have it currently set up is my camera is one person and my laptop is another person. Tomorrow I'm going to try to figure it out to where I'm not inviting my camera as a guest. So in that case, if I can figure out how to set that up, it might take me a while to figure out the hack on my computer. If I can do that, I can actually change my if I can do that and set my camera up as an extra camera instead of invited as a guest. I can actually change the brightness and a whole bunch of other stuff that I normally couldn't do, inviting it as a guest. But then I can add one more person too, so then we can have a total of 10 people over here on StreamYard. 10 people, that'd be that'd be a lot. The other thing is I'm not sure how to have more than one person. So for example, there's like, well, I can't do it with, I can't do it with the screen. But if I had another person, there's like different formats where I can have people side by side, or I can have me big, and yeah, there's a whole bunch of different formats. All these different formats over here, which is pretty wild. But yeah, I'd have to get multiple people in here to figure out, because I've seen people where you have 10 people and you can blow one person up. I'm not quite sure how you do that. So if I remove one person, if I have two people, I also remove their voice. So yeah, I need more people to figure out how to do some stuff. All right, Prevail Pythons, what's up? I'm pairing snakes today. Nice. I paired this week. This week is my first week pairing, which is not really when most people pair, I'd say. So in the spring, I don't know. I think most people pair in the fall. But I'm kind of dragging my pairing out. So February, March, April, May, June, July, August. I could probably pair for 6 months, breeding one snake through 9 females. And by the time I finish would be the time most people, I think most people would finish breeding in August, September, something like that. I think August, September, October. Yeah. Hey, you're back. It's been a while. Miss seeing your content. Thomas Stegall, what is up? Yes, I am back. Most bulls are super spicy. I've never actually handled a wild bull snake, so yeah. Let's see. I want to mix mine with my palmetto corn snake. He's amazingly chill and lil. Nice. It's weird. I ran across a few that were not even worried about me picking them up. Huh. That's interesting. Maybe they were tamed down by other people. Maybe there's a bunch of kids on the block picking up all the wild snakes, taming them down. That could be. Let's see. Been watching since I was a kid. Love you, man. That is funny. I remember going to Reptiles shows, and kids were like, yeah, kids grew up on my channel because I was posting like every day for like, I don't know, years and years. And it was funny because the kids that grew up to the point where it's like the first thing that they would really be aware of you know, as a kid, kind of maturing into what the world was about, and then watching their parents watch Chris Hardwick Reptiles every single time. And then I go to the reptile show, and then I'd show up in person, and some of those kids would just be like staring at me like I couldn't believe that he's real. It was something to watch some of the kids that grew up with my videos every day to actually meet him at the shows. It's pretty wild. And then I stopped for a while, and now I'm back. So, yeah, it's interesting. Interesting. Yeah, if it's colder, they're very chill. Would you say selling snakes on Facebook as a business will get you customers? Good question. I've never tried to sell snakes on Facebook. Not sure. You have to kind of be careful of the policies. I've never really sold anything on Facebook, but I know if you try to sell on like Craigslist or something, they won't let you sell animals. They'll let you give them away, I think, but you can't sell them. And a lot of times on Craigslist, they'll just delete your ads, no matter even if you're giving them away, if it's an animal. I think Facebook Marketplace doesn't allow the sale of animals, yeah. Better off on Instagram, yeah, but then you'd have to have an Instagram following. I think you're better off on Morphmarket, honestly, because, you know, I go over there and I post some snakes and I'll get like thousands of views on all my snakes. I mean, there's so many people on Morphmarket. It's kind of like the eBay of snakes. If you want exposure to all your snakes, I would go on Morphmarket. How much do you pay each month or year for your bedding? I buy my bedding by the pallet. I get it from Reptichip. It's shipped to a warehouse. I get a half a pallet. I think it's like, well, it used to be like I haven't bought bedding in a long time. It's I can't remember how much it is, like $1,200 or $1,500, $1,800. I don't know how much it is. As a matter of fact, they just sent me an email the other day. I'm getting really low on bedding. I need to get another half a pallet, but they ship it down to Denver on a half pallet, and then I go down with my pickup truck and put it in my pickup truck, and then I back it up to the garage and fill up the garage. And it's pretty cheap if you get a whole pallet full of bedding. So, and then it lasts a long time. A half a pallet. I would say maybe a couple years, 2.5 years, maybe. So I don't buy Reptichip that much. I'm getting pretty low though. I'm guessing this year I'm gonna have to buy another half a pallet. I'm gonna run out for sure. Well, it depends. If I sell most of my snakes and I'm down to like a dozen snakes, it may last me another year because I can do quite a few snakes with a block of coconut husk. I didn't say Facebook Marketplace, like a Facebook business. Maybe. To sell your snakes on a Facebook business. Do you have a recent video of your frozen thawed feeding method? I don't. Yeah, I've been kind of avoiding feeding videos. I usually, you know, in a lot of videos, I'll tell people how I feed. So recently I just basically put them in 120-degree water, let them sit for 45 minutes and change the water 3 times. And then right at the third water change, I'll feed right after that. And you kind of take out a rodent, dry it on a towel, and then offer it to them that way. So yeah, YouTube kind of has a thing with feeding videos. I saw a lot of people doing live feeding. It's like you do a live feeding on YouTube and your video will blow up. You'll get a lot of views and then you'll get deleted. Your videos will get deleted. They'll get demonetized and you risk your channel doing feeding videos. So, you know, if you want the views and play with fire, you can do feeding videos. So I try to stay away from anything that's even questionable. I mean, I have so many videos, it's not even worth it to, you know, play on the edge like that, you know, with kids videos or feeding videos or AI or any of that stuff. It's you know, it's not worth it. But I don't know. I explain it. I don't know if I want to do a video on it. Your cost would be substrate feed and power for heat, depending on your species of snakes. Yeah, so your costs is your substrate, your feed, the rodents, the power for heat, the power for humidity, the power for heating the room, the power for heating the snake racks, the cost of the water to put in your humidifier. So you can't, a lot of humidifiers you just can't run tap water because it'll kind of end up like this humidifier I got over here that I don't use anymore. It's like all crusty from all the hard water deposits. Yeah, and the stuff that breaks is your cost. Like today I just had a fan, like a floor fan go out that circulates the air. I had to order another fan. The humidifiers go out. If you're doing YouTube, the laptops break. You know, your cameras get old. SD cards get corrupted. It's just on and on and on. You need feeding tongues. Your water bottles wear out. Yeah, and then the bags and the boxes, the heat packs. And then if you're doing the studio thing, then you need the studio lights and the recording stuff and, you know, the mics and all. It's just, you know, then you have all the software, you know, Adobe Premiere Pro is like, you know, I don't know how much it is, like $50 a month. And then StreamYard's $50 a month. And it just adds up, you know, just one after the other after the other. It's just like, there's so many costs. And then all the shipping costs. So like if I sell a snake for $200 and I'm like, all right, I'm tired of figuring out people's shipping. I just want a flat $50 shipping rate. Well, it's never $50. You know, you're going to spend, you know, 60, 80, $100 for shipping. And then you're taking that off of the price of the snake. So yeah. And hopefully you break even. That's the goal. You can break even and pay the bills. So there's a lot of costs. And the initial setup. Yeah. I think I have $20,000 in racks. So yeah. And then the snakes on top of that. Yeah. So you're looking at probably 25, 30 grand for my setup. Plus all the ongoing costs. Do I ship to England? People have asked me to ship overseas and it's, you know, I sell a $500 snake and it's like $1,000 to ship overseas, plus all the customs and all that. So I just decided not to ship anywhere except the United States. Maybe if someone could figure out all the logistics where I could just hand off a snake and you pay me whatever it is, or you pay someone else to ship it out. I might do that. If you could find like a middleman where I'd ship, you know, sell the steak to a middleman and he could figure out all the stuff on all the, you know, how to get it through customs and the import fees and the proper shipping and all that, I could probably do that. But I've never really shipped out of the United States. Let's see. Prevail Pythons 14. Due to my age, I'm 13. Not allowed to sell them here. Interesting. Huh. Did not know there was a snake age limit. That is very interesting. Yes, Morphmarket is the selling king and Palm Street now. Yes. Morphmarket is king. They have almost 600,000 snakes that have been over on Morphmarket. Nobody can beat Morphmarket. Everyone is searching Morphmarket for the next new snake. Let me tell you. 120 with 3 water changes. Yeah, talking about expenses, Morphmarket. That's another expense. You have to pay a yearly fee over on Morphmarket, depending on your plan. I think I just paid like $150 or something for a 12-month plan. I don't know how much it was, but yeah, luckily they don't take a portion of all your sales. Yeah. All right, let's see. 120 with 3 water changes, temp gun for accuracy. Yeah, that's what I do. The larger the rat, the longer it takes to slow thaw in the hot, not boiling water. Yeah. So, yeah, for sure. Yeah, normally what I'll do is if I'm feeding like an extra, extra large rat, I'll go through like the 3 water changes. Well, I kind of planned it out so I know that the 3 water changes at 120 degrees will completely thaw out the big rat. But how I used to do it is I'd pull it out of the water and feel right between the 2 front legs, right on the chest, and just hold my thumb there for like maybe 10 seconds. And if it feels cold, you know that that rat's not hot enough, because you can feel that's like the thickest part of the rat right in the chest. That's kind of a quick way to test your big rats to make sure they're not frozen inside when you're feeding them to your snake. Cypher's just chilling. Look at the snake. I had no idea that he would just sit here on my shoulders. He may be my new mascot. Might have to have, forget Bobby, we got Cypher. He's my new snake. My new kink neck snake that nobody wants. I'll just keep him as a mascot. Have you ever thought about opening a breeding facility and breeding on a much larger scale? Yeah, I thought about it, but I decided not to. It'd be interesting, but it'd be a lot of work, a lot of risk, a lot of risk. I've had a lot of businesses. And let me tell you, when you're running your own business with anything, it's like you're worried about paying the bills for the next month all the time, all the time. And even if you hit it big and you're really successful, you're worried about getting sued and losing it all. And, you know, I've been in companies where I worked in this lab where, you know, there's so many tricks. I worked in this lab. They decided to go public. And right before they went public, no, and as soon as they went public. So they went public, and then someone wrote this really damning article that says, their product's a scam. Everything they do is bogus, blah, blah, blah. And the stock went way down. Well, what they actually did is they shorted the company. So basically, when you buy a short, you're betting that the stock will go down. And then the guy hired someone else to write this really bad article. And when they put the article out, the stock went down. They cashed in the shorts and they made like millions of dollars. Well, that millions of dollars actually comes out of the company. So the company almost lost their shirt with this whole big scam of how they put out this article that crashed the stock. And then as soon as the stock crashed, they redacted the article. It's just like stuff like that I've seen. Or even if you're trying to do everything right, there's people out there that can completely crush you in a legal way. So, yeah, yeah, it is running a business. It's not as easy as you would think it. There's a lot of ways you know you could crash even if you've been successful for decades. So, yeah, it's pretty scary, especially if you scale up and then you have employees and buildings and rent and you know a lot of investments in the hardware and all that stuff. All right, let's see. Due to my age, I cannot sell on Morphmarket. Wow, Morphmarket has an age limit. That's crazy. That is crazy. It makes no sense. People do things like that. Yeah. Yeah, that caught everyone off guard. As a matter of fact, we had a whole team of financial advisors and CEOs and people that were experts, and that blindsided them. That short of the market and everything, that was like, there's so many ways people can like scam you. It's crazy, and it's totally legal. Yeah, so you have to be careful. All right, Danny Stubbs, what's up? My blue-eyed leucistic has a yellowish back. Will that grow out as he ages? About 14 months old. I would think it would fade a little bit, but I don't think he'll completely grow out of it. I think the yellow stripes on the back of the blue-eyed leucistics do kind of fade. You'll see them a lot on like super fires with black-eyed leucistics, and then you see them on Blue-eyed leucistics with like Mojave combinations. Other than, usually you don't see them with like lesser or Russo or bamboo. A lot of times you won't see them. Usually the lesser, the bamboo, and the Russo. As a matter of fact, I think I did have a bamboo lesser with a little bit, just a hint of yellow on the back on one of my blue-eyed leucistics, which really surprised me because I didn't expect it. Usually lesser will completely wipe out the yellow stripe on the back of the snake. I think it would fade, but I think it will still be a little bit visible as it matures. We've been going for 3 hours and 24 minutes. And we still have 42 people. That is crazy. You know what? I think we might have to call it. I might have to call it. The app says 4+. You can't sell until 18. Wow, that's crazy. Understand that completely. My tattoo artist and I pay rent instead of commission. I'm trying to learn. Crazy. So, is it the end? Could it be the end? I think we should end it. Yes, let's end it. Oh, wow, look at that. The end? YouTube rejected my comment. Oh, all right. So, which is weird, very weird. The end. All right, so I'm gonna end it. So, yes, I will see you tomorrow, and we can chat some more. Let's do it again.